Welcome back, guys. This is Arnaldo, aka Mad Dog, and this is the real episode 197 of GG's The Mouthful Podcast.
Are we recording? Are we live? Oh, okay. So, GG! Woo! Woo!
You started breathing in, I started bracing myself, and then you stopped. I was like, oh.
I wanted to make sure that if I was going to throw GG, it was gonna be recorded, you know, for the annals of history. When, when someone in the year 2172 goes back into our time capsule, I want them to find nothing but the best and pristine GGs that we can find. You know, only the finest.
I like it, sir. I like it.
Somebody's going to be raiding tombs and finding our recording, our podcast.
And then you'd be yelling GG. GG! I love it.
What does it mean? Actually, they're not going to know because in the future, the languages are getting so amalgamated, which is to say all fused together, that we're all going to be speaking a kind of broken Chinese English. I think it's gonna be
English.
Yeah, which is gonna have everything. But you know, that's actually what I envision the future is gonna be, because you know, language evolves.
It does, but
yeah,
it usually, and this is not the way to point it, but it usually gets dumber, right? Because slang becomes more slang, and before you know it, I mean, if you go back in the day, you know, even a simple farmer spoke you know, good English, right? You know.
Yeah, proper
English. Yeah, and now you get to nowadays, and you got a lot of slang, and you still, of course, have, you know, your British folk who like to speak their proper or whatever. But you know, that's slowly going away. You know,
you get people saying "tryna" instead of "trying to." You know, and those are the most annoying ones.
It is. No, there's a lot of them. Instead of saying "I am," it's just "am." I'm like, no, stop it. Stop it.
Yes. Proper grammar, kids.
Yes.
That's the message of our podcast today. Actually, says me, which I speak, I would say, not completely broken English, but I would say like cracked English.
Cracked?
You know? Yeah.
Okay.
Which is to say, I'm on crack every time I'm speaking English. No, go ahead.
Oh wow. No, I mean, it happens a lot. I just actually saw literally a meme that someone posted. It said, "Stop writing a lot," right? And a lot is one word. A lot. Stop using a lot. You know, that's not a word. And I was like, I looked at that and I was like, there's so much truth to this stupid post. You know what I mean?
Sadly, sir.
Sadly,
sir. That's the world we live. That's what, and we can only try to get better.
Jesus. That voice, of course, is Mr. David Santos, aka Dream Twister. Sir, how are you trying to feel?
I'm trying to feel you know, I'm just trying to feel you know, in this world.
I'm just trying to live life. Oh man. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If this is your first time tuning in, please go to goodgame.rocks and join the conversation there. It takes you right to our Facebook group. And of course, like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. What we normally do is first we go into what we have been up to, move on into various news items, and then finish with our hot topic of the week. This week's hot topic.
What's the hot topic?
Franchises that need a revival.
Amen.
And this is actually a topic from our very own Mr. Chaos Reaper, who's not with us at the moment, but he will be joining us a little later in the show.
He's with us in spirit right now.
At the
And
moment, he
yes,
is. He is
yeah,
sitting with
we
us
have
here.
to summon it. We haven't thrown the Pokeball that will summon him out. Yeah, because he's
Okay.
not ready. He's not ready. Well, I'm training him. I'm taking it to the gym. But yeah, that's a hot topic.
That's the hot topic.
I have
Basically, we're
nothing else to
looking
say.
at we're looking at some old franchises that have not been around, but are dear and beloved to all gamers, and seeing which ones can really use that comeback. And
Oh man, oh
yeah.
man, I'm excited for this one because I do have one in particular that I've been dying to see a revival on. Come on, make it happen! But we're gonna have to stay tuned for that one.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, sir. Let's start with what we have been up to. Mr.
Sure.
Santos,
Sure.
what have you been doing?
Oh, this is gonna be very simple and straightforward because there's not much really.
Okay.
I I mostly took this week to play to continue playing Bloodstained Ritual of the
Okay.
Night. And
Nice.
thank you, I mentioned the name of the game right. I didn't say Blood Rain.
Actually, I
I
was
didn't
just going to
say.
ask, what is Bloodstain?
Wait, is it not? Is that not it? You're trolling me. You're trolling me, sir.
I
It's
refuse to
Blood
answer the question.
Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night, not Bloodborne either. But I don't know. Honestly, I refuse to try to see how far I've gone. I know I put a solid 19 or 20 hours on it already.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and, and at one point, uh, this might be mild spoilers for those of you, but at one point, I kind of like by accident got to what I still think might be the last boss.
Oh,
Who knows? Because this game's like to surprise you, and I totally expect this game, to surprise you at some point. But I go into a fight, and it wasn't like a particularly grandiose fight or anything like that. Uh, I beat him relatively with a relative ease, and I thought, it's because I've been grinding for the most part, so I'm a little OP. Maybe that's what it is. And I get the cutscene, whatever. And this is after playing for like half an hour. Like I said, I accidentally stumble upon him. So I beat the boss. I get the little cutscene, and suddenly a game over screen.
oh,
She
wow.
says, he said, okay, we're done what we came here to do. Oh, I still have a bad feeling though, or something along the lines. And then game over. And I'm like, motherfucker. You
So,
didn't let me save my game before throwing me. Like, what did I do? I beat the guy. I finished the game. Or what I thought it would have been. I mean, I know that I had tons of areas that I hadn't discovered. So I'm not saying I beat the game. Actually, I would have been kind of upset if suddenly I was able to beat the game without discovering like everything else in that castle, because that map looks huge. Um, but not you win the battle and you get a game over screen. It's like, what am I supposed to do, lose it? So now I wasted like half an hour of game time, you know because I didn't think to save, because I didn't think I was gonna hit a boss fight. So that was annoying. And I stopped playing it, and I let it. So the next time the next day I picked it up again, and I said, okay, let me just try to explore these areas, because the way I play these games I don't want to be told where to go or what to do next. I kind of like hitting that wall of, um uh, again, only in this
where do I
particular
go?
type of games. Where do I go? What the fuck am I supposed to do? and and I'm still, because I don't see as a complete waste of time, because I'm still leveling up. I still get making myself stronger, which I'm thinking, I will need. I gotta be probably like level, like maybe 25, maybe. But so I kept going around. I couldn't figure out how to open new areas. I discovered some, secrets here and there, but nothing that will see me progress. So I thought, okay, so this only means this is the game's way of funneling me into this battle. I need to face this guy, and maybe I need to do something different. Maybe I messed up, and I was supposed to, like, hit something before hitting him, or I don't know. I don't know. I gotta figure out what the strategy is. So, well, this time I'm gonna be smart about it. I'm gonna save my game before facing him, and off I go. Now I've been playing a little bit more, so now my character is even stronger. So now when I face him, I beat him even easier. He's supposed to be like what I expect to be the last boss, which now I'm thinking, okay, you definitely not, because that was a super easy fight. Now made even easier now that I'm stronger, and again, the same ending. I get a game over screen, and
Oh,
back
really?
back to the title screen. And I'm like, motherfucker. So what am I supposed to do here? What's next? Because don't get me wrong. I'm having fun with the game. I'm having fun with the exploration. The game does this thing where uh, as you kill monsters, you could get, sometimes they could drop this like charge that like pieces of like a crystal that she just basically impales herself with,
Oh, wow.
and somehow gains that power. uh, it all looks silly because it shows this huge piece of crystal of charred, bigger than herself, and then suddenly she just grabs it and she impels herself with it, and suddenly she gains whatever is the power. So I got a silly. I got a one of the latest powers I got was a silly thing of there's this chair, or there's monsters that are basically like possessed chairs that starts hopping towards you, and they try to hit you, and I got the power, and all I can do with it is, well, I can create a chair and sit down, and literally that's it. It does nothing. So I was like, okay, well, great. At least the
Thank you
ones.
for nothing.
Thank you for nothing. At least the ones that one of my favorite ones that I'm using is so there's these paintings on the walls that come to life, and they start following you again with the if they hit you and they take away some of your life, right? Um, and their power when you grab it is that suddenly you can have like a shield of like two or three of those paintings, like going orbiting you basically. you know so if you level that up, suddenly you have like a bunch of painting just going around you. You're basically a shield that whenever you go into areas, like, you remember the Castlevania Medusas, that be
Yeah,
really
yeah.
annoying.
The most
Well, this
annoying
game,
Medusas.
yeah, those annoying freaking Medusas, hate them. Well, Medusa heads, I should say, the
Medusa heads.
Medusa
Yeah,
heads that
yeah.
will be flying around, and then they'll hit you and off you go. Um, so this one has the equivalent of it, but all I have to do is just put my my paintings shield, and suddenly I can like just one shot kill them. I basically become untouchable. Or if I'm fighting a boss, the paintings will hit the boss. Also, they start getting destroyed, of course. So I have to like replenish my painting shield. But so each monster has like discovering the abilities that you can have by killing each monster is cool. you know I don't know if some of the powers could help you as far as the traversal, as far as the traversal goes. Like, actually, I take it back. Some of the powers, right away that you're gonna be able to use them for traversal purposes, because one of them is double jump. Hello,
Yeah.
obviously.
The
Yo,
most
double jump.
obvious,
You
what
know,
do you call it? The
yeah,
most
yeah.
obvious upgrade.
Yeah, it's a basic gameplay element. This is very obvious. Uh, some of the less obvious ones are. a beam of light that suddenly you cast it, and wherever it stops, that's where you will teleport, basically. So that's useful for going into small crevices and small areas that you will normally, on the. I used to think that, oh, maybe I'll get a power that will make me small and I could go through it, but no, with this beam of light, I can just like go through them easily. Uh, so you got that. There's another one that is like a bunny, like a lady vamp. She looks like a lady vampire dressed in a bunny suit. Um, Kind of like a sexy bunny suit type of thing.
Of
And
course.
and of course, and I can transform into her, but for no purpose. I can't find the purpose of, like, okay, what does this do? And of course, I can power it up if I want to. Maybe I'll find something interesting, but that means that you have to grind for the materials that you will need to power those things up. So it's that typical hook, gameplay hook.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Right now, if I could go play for a couple hours, and I might not make progress as far as opening new areas on the map, but I'm stronger, and to me that's fine. I'm still having fun with that. I still think it's, obviously the year started, but it's like, if I would have played this, I had the intention of playing it last year, that this game would have been probably on my list of one of my favorite games, because I'm having a lot of fun with it, and it's a very well made one of those. If you like
Yeah.
if you like Symphony of the Night, then you should be playing this. Period. Because this is the spiritual successor done, upgraded, basically.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing this so much, I really haven't had a chance to delve into anything else, other than I'm slowly, replaying Injustice 2, just kind of like to see the other ending. I still think that the story on that game is phenomenal for being a superhero. One of those, it's really, I mean, it's silly because it's a comic story. It's a comic book story, basically, but it is very interesting in what it tries to do. So, but then, I've beaten that game already, so I'm not really booking it on it.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think I've seen anything. So yeah, yeah.
That's it. Oh
That
my
that
God! What a
that's easy.
simple week for our very own Mister
As
Dream Twister.
simple week for a simple man of simple taste. I told you I
Uh,
wanted to play something old school, and for the longest time, that I had an inkling to play. I wanted to play Symphony of the Night so bad, and I couldn't
yeah,
find
that's
a,
true.
a proper, way
You're
of
getting your
thinking.
fix though. You're getting your
I'm
fix
more than
for
anything, yeah.
Castlevania.
Oh yeah, right now, like I was like after this, I was looking at, okay, what other games do I have that are like this, and then, of course, freaking Guacamele show appear on my list in my face because I got that,
Yes,
and I'm
do
like,
it.
oh, you, you, huh? Maybe I'll play StarCraft too. No, I'm kidding.
Oh dear Lord. Oh man. Okay. Well, what have I done?
What have you done, sir?
I'm still playing Owlboy. I'm still going through that. It's actually a very cool game. You
It
actually
is.
meet new characters and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. So I'm still playing through that. I haven't gotten back to um, what's the other one? Super
Judgment?
Hot. I haven't got to
Oh,
Super. No, I haven't got to Judgment either. Everything seems to be getting backburnered, and some of them will probably remain in the back burner now
uh-huh.
because I have started Neo, and
Oh,
yes,
well, before you go to Neo, I should mention to you that I've been listening I'm still listening to the Giant Bombs, like, end of the year hoopla they did for
extravaganza.
hours. Yeah, yeah, the thing they do that takes forever, but it's cool. And they mentioned Judgment as one of the. I think it ended up in the top three best stories of that year, of last year. And I was like, really, Judgment? And because I don't want to go into spoilers, I kind of like skip. But evidently, the game, yeah, the game does get like substantially better at some point. It's just like you said. Suddenly, it opens up a lot of things, to do, and you could get lost into those,
I
and
spent
that can
I
be
spent time
problematic.
just eating. Like I go to these little restaurants. I'm sitting there just
Well, that's
eating,
on you, sir.
like enjoying the tonkatsu ramen, right? Or the I
That's
don't know,
because
some
you're
other,
imagining. be-
Japanese curry,
That's
and
because
I'm
you're
like, oh,
imagining that you're eating it for real.
I
That's the
am, I
problem.
am, I know. It's actually it's a sickness. It's a sickness.
You're just stuffing
No,
that
so
much.
speaking of Japanese, no,
Oh yeah, yeah.
although to be fair, I really cannot go too much into it because I am just starting. You know what I mean? So,
Uh,
I'm just kind of getting the hang of it. And before that, I actually popped in some videos, that on YouTube. I just kind of said, those tips, those things you want to do in the beginning,
yeah.
or something, or actually, no, always the one, something the game doesn't tell you, that I wish I knew, those type of videos. So I saw
Really?
like, yeah, I saw a couple of those videos. Okay, let me get this so I don't go, wasting too much time
Yeah.
aimlessly, right? And some of them went into a little in depth on stuff, and I was like, okay, I that's a little in depth. I don't need. I just want what is it I should be, what should I be focusing on and all that.
Mm.
Anyway,
What
and
what
for
are good or bad choices? Which I don't think that game particularly has any to worry about. You
well, no,
know?
not choices, nothing story like. It's just more mechanic stuff. Like for
Yeah,
instance,
that's
one
what I
of them
meant. That's
is
what I meant.
yeah. So that's why I was like, oh, okay. That said, I didn't know I would be starting in London. I was like, wait a minute, what the hell? Or at least I don't know yet. I'm in the Tower of London at the moment, which
You're
is
the
at the
last
very
samurai.
beginning. Yeah, and
You're
so
Tom
yes,
Cruise.
that's exactly what it is. Or actually, let's be real. I'm Geralt of Rivia. Actually
Oh, okay, there you go.
lost in the land of Neo. So I'm just starting it out, but I am it's it, the game so far has the trappings of like sinking its hooks. Like at some point, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk and boom, hooks are all in, and I'm just gonna get stuck playing this. So
Yeah.
so that's why I feel like
Uh,
some of the other stuff is kind of is unfortunately back burner, and I don't know if I'll get back to them at this point because it's just like there's only so much time, and frankly, this is like the perfect time to revisit some of these things because there's nothing really major coming out until like March, I think mid March. So this is perfect. What do you
that's
call it?
true.
Perfect time to go through your backlog. Backlog moment. So
Yeah.
and I've had that there for a while because it came free for PlayStation Plus, which is an amazing deal. And so yeah, so I'm starting that. Again, I don't really have anything to say on it yet because I'm just beginning in it, but I am looking forward to sinking my teeth into this game because
Yeah.
so far it's very from what I've played so far. I'm like this is very good. I'm enjoying so far what I like from it. So
It has a really good
uh,
combat. It has really good combat on it.
I,
Um,
I'm a little surprised you because I'm playing it and I'm going. It's not Sekiro in any way,
no.
obviously, but as far as the combat, but
Mm.
it's similar in many in some ways. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering why you haven't tried Sekiro yet.
Well,
I feel like
you
if you
just said it.
tried it.
This you just said it. This one is not Sekiro.
I know,
It's not
but I'm
that
saying,
high
but it
level
has
of parries.
similarities. It has
Yeah.
similar. Well, remember, I mean, you do have to parry. For the record,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do have to parry. Um, but you can also block. You know what I mean? But you
Mhm.
really have to parry. I mean, that is. Oh God, that game is so good. Anyway, we're not talking about Sega. We're talking about Neo, and so far I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of like stuff that you pick up, which is very strange to me. I was just like, whoa. Before you know it, I already have like several swords and stuff. Like, damn, what the hell? What am I gonna do with all this? You know?
Yeah, the loot on that game, I feel like it maybe cheapen it a little bit by giving you so much so quick. You
Oh,
know,
don't get me
like
wrong, I'm enjoying it, but I like it. It's just one of those things where I feel like at some point I'm gonna have so much different armor choices. I'm like, I don't know what it's. For instance, like The Witcher. How many times did I tell you that I sometimes
mm,
would just turn the game on like before going to work, like back when I was working later,
mm.
and I would spend an hour, and all I've been doing is menus. I've just been going through my inventory. So, okay, what do I need here? Let me get this all. Let me upgrade this one. Let me build this. And before you know, it's
Yeah,
an hour and a half, and I haven't even played the game. Um,
yeah,
that said, I never felt like it was time not well spent, but I can see a lot of that in here. You know what I mean? And so I'm not. It's a good worry. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It's a good worry because I'm worried that I will get sucked into shit like that,
yeah.
as I did with the other one. But I don't know. Just like, oh man, I don't even know how long the game is, and frankly, I don't care at this point. There really isn't anything else that I'm interested in playing for the moment. So yeah, so that's Neo, and more to come on that. More to come. Like I said, I'm very very early. I don't even have so early. I don't have early impressions. Other than the fact that I chose the frame rate mode versus the resolution mode. I was like,
Oh
yeah, we're
yeah,
going with frame rate. So,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
um, anyway, so that's Neo. I also started playing this little handheld game. It's called. Let me get it up because I'm trying to remember the name now. It's called Hole Down. HOLE down. Hole down.
Hold out,
Uh, it
hold
is
out.
a, yeah, exactly. It is a game that I'm playing on my phone, and it's sort of a different version of a brick breaker type game. You know what brick breaker games, right?
Like Arkanoid or Super
Yeah, something
Breakout
like that. But the difference is
and
you're
Brickle.
digging. You're digging, right? You're going
Uh,
downward. So you have different levels, and basically, like the first level is called Asteroid. And when you first go in it, you'll see that you'll have like a certain amount of shots, and you're
uh,
trying to get to the core within those amount of shots, right? And you
mm,
start off with two balls essentially, so balls will start going up. But you gotta shoot it out, right? And you have to angle it right so it clears the most stuff before it comes back, right? Because you only have a
uh,
certain amount of shots. So you're trying to get to the core within that amount of shots. And sometimes you can have 2 or 3 balls or something like that. But when you angle it right, it can clear a lot of it all out before it comes back up again.
uh.
Anyway, it's a weird little game. It's graphically it's very cool. If I don't know if you look it up online, but yeah, it's called Hold
Yeah,
Down,
I'm checking
and
it. I'm looking it up right now.
yeah,
Just
it's actually it's a lot of fun. It's challenging. Obviously, it's one of those things. Oh, and the bricks that you're hitting have numbers on them, right? So those numbers kind of tell you how many times you have to hit it before it goes away, right?
there's so many. I look for hold down, and all I get is freaking rap videos. So many of them. I have like
Okay.
I already counted like four DJ Khaled, and
Okay.
I don't know why. Maybe if I specify
That's funny.
hold down the game. Let's see. Nope. Now I have Twista. Oh, there you go. Dream Twista.
Oh, there you
speaking of
go.
speaking of good grammar,
Oh God,
people
no.
that spell Twister Twista.
That's
Dream
just
Twista. Oh,
disgusting.
look. Snoop Dogg is on the Price is on Celebrity Family Feud. Okay, I'm. You know what? You got me into a bad hole here. Let me get out.
You're
Forget about
and you're welcome. But so yeah, so what you have to as you're going down, as you're digging down, the when the ball comes back up, the let's say the camera moves down one spot, right? So you have
it.
to make sure you're clearing these stuff off because if you leave something there as the camera moves down, it says you crashed basically, and so you have to start over. So anyway, it's a lot of fun for what it is. It costs, I think, it costs like $3 or something like that, which is, as far as I'm concerned, money well spent. You know what I mean? Because three
Yeah.
dollars is nothing. And it's no ads. Everything is. That's what I love about it. You pay for it, you get what you want to pay for, and you move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that is Hold Down, and it's on iOS and Android. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but
Good
anyway.
to know. Good to know.
And then I have watched some stuff, and the first one that I want to bring up is a movie that I did tell you about. It's
Uh-huh.
called Cruise, and it
Oh.
is basically it's this movie. It's actually a 2018 film, okay,
Uh-huh.
but it oozes 80s, like
Mm.
almost to a fault. or maybe or maybe just to a fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's in the 80s. It's basically it takes place in New York City, Queens. All right,
Uh-huh.
very 80s. Like I said, it's this young uh, Italian American.
Yeah.
And it says from the wrong side of the tracks, but he's just this guy who every night he works at a like a what do you call it? A fucking car shop. He works at a
Uh-huh.
car shop, but at night he gets into his nice ride, which he's got a nice fucking ride, by the way. Nice ride, and he just cruises the street with his boys, picking up girls, and he's a young guy, just on the prowl, right? And then he runs into this one girl, he just immediately I think catches her eye, and no, I'm not gonna front. She's actually a
Mm.
gorgeous girl, the thing,
Yeah.
but she's out for the night, and she's whatever, and they hook up. She disappears on him. All right, and I guess he's just like, what the fuck, what the hell's going on? Turns out that she actually doesn't hang out like that. She ends up. This is in the trailer for the record, guys, so I'm not really spoiling much here.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't actually hang out like that. She's actually, a Jewish American girl who does right. She goes to a Ivy League school. She was just hanging out for that night, in
Uh-huh.
her whatever. Anyway, it becomes this story of the two of them kind of falling in love and all this stuff. But obviously, coming from completely different families, her family's completely rich, his family is from Queens, and let me tell you, the Italian is everywhere. The fingers
Yeah.
waving in the air. It's like, hey, Vinny, hey. It's like it's
The Italians, the fingers in the air.
I'm telling you, it's so stereotypical. But the movie's okay. It's actually
Uh-huh.
what I love about the movie is I love the 80s feel of it. I love the music that they have. They have music that you'll go, yes, I remember this jam. You know what
This
I
is
mean?
this is, except with the part that there's no, quote unquote horror. This is almost sounding like the way you described me. What's that? What the hell was that movie? It Follows, where you were talking about that. No, the vibe of the 80s and the
No.
music is you gotta see, bro. You gotta see. And yeah, to much of my chagrin and disappointment. So
So
now I'm
this is
starting
not
to
a
get
horror
worried.
film. Yeah, this is
No,
not
it's
a
not.
horror film.
No.
As I said, this movie's okay. It almost feels. If you ever seen Saturday Night Live, it almost has that weird Saturday Night Live fever to it. Um, Saturday Night Fever, not Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Fever, the movie with John Travolta.
Uh,
If you've seen that, that takes place in the 70s, and actually, I think it is filmed and takes place in the 70s, as opposed to this is from today's time,
mm,
meaning to be from the 80s. But man, it just oozes that weird that 80s feel to it.
uh,
It is in the end just a story about a boy, boy meets girl. One
yeah.
is from one side of the tracks. It's essentially what it is. Um, there's this weird moment towards the end where things are supposed to get serious and they don't. Like it's serious in the sense that something bad happens and it becomes a little too unbelievable. It wraps up too unbelievably easy, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
in the real world, something really bad should happen here. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But it didn't happen, and I'm like, okay, well,
Escaped a
that's
little
fine.
too easy.
Correct. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. Um, so yeah, so that's the movie Cruise. I couldn't tell you who's. I mean, I can tell you who's in it, but I don't know if you know it because I don't know any of them
Well,
before
tell
or
the
after.
audience, because the audience will be
Uh,
interested.
okay, well, the main character is actor Spencer Boldman. Uh, The main girl is Emily Ratajkowski. So yeah,
Can't pronounce them. Might as well not saying because we were using proper grammar. Remember?
this is right. We're a proper grammar podcast. That's right.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
so yeah, it's I don't really know that, but so I saw that and it was decent. I enjoyed for what it was, but it is what it was.
Yeah,
Then I did see the movie The King, which you
yeah,
actually
you
saw
did.
last time,
Yeah.
and this is actually pretty cool. This is a story of Henry the Fifth. When he becomes the king, reluctantly becomes the king because he didn't really want to be
Hmm.
um, the king. But it's actually pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. It's way more political than what than I was expecting, which was
Yeah.
fine. I'm actually okay with that. Actually, all the aspects, the main character who plays the king, what's his name? I'll look his name up here,
Oh,
but he
I'll look
actually
it up.
he actually did really really well. I mean, he was a very very believable young king. You know what I mean? And just felt like he was I don't know. He's just there's something almost like
What the hell is it?
proper about him. You know what I mean? Proper about him
Yeah.
that he just it's like, oh man, that's crazy. And I don't see his name is not even on this. It's
Is
not the
it
first person on the list. That's so
Tom?
weird.
No, not Tom. Tom Glenn. Tom Glenn Cartney?
No,
No.
Timothy Chalamet is his name, and he
Oh
was in
yeah,
the movie
Timothy. Yeah,
Lady
yeah.
Bird. He was in a couple different movies you
Oh, okay.
may have seen. He was in that, and what's funny, the someone who's also in it that I didn't know this going in, is Robert Pattinson. He played the
Oh.
prince from France, from the country of France.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Yes,
yeah,
he was there.
I did
I
not
did
know.
not
Yeah,
expect. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I was like,
uh,
whoa, what is he doing here? And he did really well too, for the record. So it's got some really good acting, really, some interesting stuff about what was going on, and I liked it. I enjoyed it for what it was.
how about
Um,
them battles,
the
huh?
battles, the whole, well, the battle, because it was really just the battle.
Oh,
Uh,
spoilers! I didn't say how
the
many. No.
I'm sorry. It is what it is, guys. It's good to know, getting into because to be fair, the trailer really doesn't show that many battles, so I guess you really shouldn't expect that many either.
No, no,
Um, but
it's
but
not.
it's
It's
but
not
it's
that.
I liked it. It makes sense because he was so against fighting. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And in the end, it was a situation where we have to fight. So
Yeah,
now we don't have a choice.
yeah,
And so, which makes sense, obviously, if you're put into a position as a king where another country is essentially calling you out and you do nothing,
yeah.
it's you need some sort of show of force, and I like how he held off as long as possible.
Hmm.
And I like his friend who becomes basically he's almost like a consultant,
Hmm.
Falstaff, which is played by Joel Egerton, which I recognize. He's been in a bunch of movies, but yeah, he did pretty well too in that, and I like his character. But yeah, the
Yeah.
battles were something serious. It was actually interesting to hear, how they they thought about it, because you're mentioned. I think you mentioned it, the fact that those armored suits
Yeah.
had some serious weight to them. You know what I mean? You don't even think about it. It's like, yeah, I've seen armored suits like in a like standing up in a thing. And I'm like, man, they had to wear all this shit. They really couldn't be swinging all around.
I know, which
And
makes it even sillier when you say, especially when you see games, and of course they're not trying to advocate for games to be super realistic or anything like that, but sometimes you see this ridiculous like piece of armor that is like, how could a person even have the shape to fit in that,
yeah,
in the
exactly.
pieces of armor,
I mean, have the shape to fit in it, sure. Have the shape to fit in it and run around in it?
and run
No, I
around
don't see it. Yeah, I
exactly.
don't see that happening. So, I mean, it was literally meant for one purpose, one only, and that was battle. But still, it's like that shit looks ridiculously, and the movie shows that off. It's like, yeah, there's a strategy behind those armored things, and I liked it. I liked those aspects of it. But anyway, that's the King, and it was very enjoyable. This is actually on Netflix, available, It's a Netflix movie, so you can see it if you have Netflix.
Cool.
Cruise, for the record, I saw on Hulu. Cruise is free on Hulu, so if you have
Uh,
Hulu, that's where Cruise is. And then finally, I saw this is another Netflix film, and this one I cannot recommend, not even a little, not even at all.
uh,
It is called How It Ends, right? And it is
oh.
basically it's a tale of there's some post-apocalyptic event that happens, or not post-apocalyptic. There's an apocalyptic event that
Mm,
happens, and it happens on the west coast of America,
mm,
and so it stars this one. The main character Will, he is the his girlfriend. He's in Chicago visiting his girlfriend's parents
mm,
to kind of get their blessing to marry the daughter. Right, the daughter Samantha. They both live in Seattle. So she's
mm.
in Seattle. He's visiting the parents. Parents, I don't know who the wife is, but the father is Forrest Whitaker, played by Forrest Whitaker,
Oh, okay.
uh, who is an ex military guy and all this stuff. And he does not like uh, the son, or would be his son-in-law,
Mm,
his potential son. They have different views essentially. So they
uh,
meet, and it's not a very good meeting. But then something happens as he's talking to his girlfriend in Seattle. Something
mm,
happens off the coast, and suddenly all contact is lost. Power is gone almost everywhere in the United
mm.
States, and so the Forrest Whitaker sends his wife, whatever, and then him boyfriend have to do this cross country trip to
Uh-huh.
Seattle, right? Um,
Do they have to
and
connect the cities and make strands?
no,
And
no, not at all. Thank God
all
for that.
right, they don't have to
Uh,
face the dead that might be stranded. Okay,
no,
okay, all right, fine.
it's basically just a tale of them, having to deal with post-apocalyptic things that happen, right? You have people
Post-apocalyptic
who are
America.
fighting, yeah,
Uh,
fighting for gas, fighting
mhm.
for water, fighting for their own family.
But did
Uh,
they explain at least what was the event?
no,
Also, it's called How It Ends, but it doesn't tell you how it really ends.
correct, yeah, because you never know what happened. Now, there's a theory. There's a character in the thing that kind of has his theory that this was the government,
Uh,
for whatever reason. He's like, who else can do this, right? If it happened off on the coast of California, how did everyone else, like whatever, dude. But the there's a couple of cool moments, overall, because they have to survive, and obviously you can't trust people. And then driving at night, one of the guys, I think as far as worker, puts like tape on him the back on the rear views, on
uh-huh.
the rear view lights. You know what I mean? So that nobody can see. You can see forward, but if you pass them, they can't see you anymore because you're in the dark now. Little things like that, where I was like, oh, this is actually
Mm.
pretty interesting. And but overall, the film kind of falls kind of flat.
Yeah, it doesn't
There's
have
some,
the best
yeah,
scores either.
it has some really poor writing, like really poor writing. Like some of the dialogue is like, oof, guys, that's
Oh,
rough. You know?
oh,
It's
oh.
just laughable shit. You know what I mean? And then the
Wow.
payoff in the end is the worst. It's like you're left with. This is one of those movies that you're left like
This is
it
how it
fades to
ends.
black.
This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
how
yeah.
it ends.
It fades to black, and I'm like, holy shit, this is how it ends. You know what I mean? And I swear to God, I felt like the freaking creators of this movie
Uh-huh.
were freaking trolling me with that shit, because that is the immediate thought
Uh,
when the wait, this is how it ends. And
yeah.
as you're saying it, you're going, these fuck, they must have
Uh,
did this to me. So yeah,
that's hilarious.
not a good movie. I cannot recommend at all.
Oh, huh?
Unless you just want to have something on in the background to laugh at, or whatever, because it's I don't know. So
Wow.
so that is how it ends.
Well
And
done, sir.
that's thank you. And that is how this segment will end, because that's all I've been doing. Welcome back, guys. It is now time for our not a hot topic, our useless news that you can use.
That's the one. Okay, hold on. Let me flip the script over here.
Yeah,
Okay, now we're ready. Yes, the useless news that we can
useless news.
abuse.
Yes, that we are going to abuse.
Yes.
I'm going to start off the top, sir, with some free games.
Ooh, I like free
All right, we're
games.
gonna. I do too. We have Xbox Games with Gold for February 2020. The lineup will include for Xbox One, it's going to be TT Isle of Man, and that'll be available from February 1st through the 29th. Happy New
Never heard
Year.
of it.
Me either. And then from the 16th of February through the 15th of March, Cyanide's Call of Cthulhu. I think I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
Horror mystery RPG will also be free for that's Xbox One. For 360, Fable Heroes, it's going to be available. Yeah, that'll be available. And then, of course, Star Wars Battlefront will also come to the Xbox. So
The original one.
the
Wow.
original, yeah, this is
Oh,
actually
so
the original because this says
yeah.
Xbox.
Oh, this
Whoa.
yeah, this is Xbox. Oh wow, this is Battlefront, not Battlefront. This is Battlefront. You know,
The classic shooter.
the one. Yeah, damn. Oh wow, Jesus Christ, Xbox. What is going? Oh my God, I'm seeing the game now. TT is kind of like a racer, like a
Well, I figured, yeah.
motorcycle racing game.
Oh shit! No, I didn't think that.
No, that's
I
why.
was like, I figured because I'm thinking Audi TT. I'm like, oh, maybe it's a racer with Audis.
Yeah,
But
no,
you just said motorcycle. I'm like, oh,
it's
nope, never mind.
it's kind of like, yeah, it is a motorcycle, a game. Call of Cthulhu was it's kind of like an adventure game. It's not great.
I
Uh,
know I had it on my list for a while, and then I had to take it off recently. It's like, oh,
yeah,
not recently, but
yeah,
after a while, I was like, I don't
no,
know.
not necessary. Fable Heroes, that is super disposable. And Battlefront is like a 20-year-old game. Like, holy crap, man. They really have nothing to offer, don't they? And it saddens me. It
That's messed
really
up.
it saddens me. I know because there are really three. Don't get me wrong. Xbox Game Pass, nothing can compete. It is the best gaming value there is, hands
Agreed.
down. Period.
Agreed.
That is not disputable.
Non-disputable. Yep.
Yeah, Xbox Live with Gold, on the other hand, it's like, holy shit, they really don't get anything. There's nothing there that you could be like excited about, like, oh, I'm getting this free game. It's not like with PSN that every now and again you get some games that even if they're not your favorite, at least you're glad that you got it for free because you get to try it out. And guess what? Maybe you will like it at the end.
Yeah.
But with this, there's no hope. There's no hope. A motorcycle racer that is not even a good one, because you don't hear of it. And Call of Cthulhu was not great. And then like, what the hell is Fable Heroes? Like, that's what I'm saying. They really don't have a lot to offer here, sadly. You know.
Yeah. It's slim pickings. I will still say tag them. I tag not all of them, but I almost always tag the game, even if I don't ever download it, even if I never ever, I just tag it just in case, because I can always say it can always become one of those things later on, like, oh hey, I got that game. We talked about it and it was the
Mm.
worst game ever or something like that. Let me give it a shot. I don't even have to pay anything because I already technically have it. Just for shits and giggles, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, yeah. I
uh,
would, I would, but there's too many good games already there, to experiment
I
with some
always
of
yeah,
those.
I always tag them. Mostly like if for stuff like that, I wouldn't have. There's so many games I actually wouldn't have, which I actually tried and enjoyed.
Yeah,
But yeah, occasionally I've gotten a few that I didn't like, but it is what it is.
yeah.
Um, and then for Sony of course, February PS Plus games. They're going to have the first one is going to be the BioShock Collection. And this will include Bioshock 1, 2, and Infinite,
Mm.
including all of the downloadables. So that alone
See, that's
is
good.
that is quite the
You're getting fucking Bioshock.
your game Bioshock, which is probably one of the best games of that generation, arguably the best. Bioshock 2, which is good but not as great, but it does come with Minerva's Den, which is great. And then you have Bioshock Infinite, which will also come with its Burial at Sea. I actually own the collection already, so this is going to be with the moment the collection happened. I was like, bought. Here you go. Here's my money. And then I just played through them all, and it was such a wonderful trip back. If you haven't played them in a long time, this one, sir, I would advise you whether you ever go back to it, tag it. Just tag it. It'll be part of your library.
Mm.
Doesn't matter. Just do it. You know what I mean? 'Cause then you'll have Minerva's Den, which you say yourself you haven't played.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to jump into that one.
Now that's a
Uh,
good title. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
uh. So,
And the second game
uh,
that they have is going to be The Sims 4,
oh
which will
wow,
come. Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
You
that's going to
see,
be.
you fucking
Actually, I've
see.
never played.
You
I've
see
never
the
played a Sims
difference.
game.
You
I
see
I
the difference right
I,
here.
I
There's
kind of do, sir. I kind of do.
it's not even a question of quality. What you get, for PSN, it's like they're really trying to give you some decent games. In this case, there's two great games. I mean, not that I'm a super huge fan of the Sims or anything like that, but I recognize that is a great game. And Bioshock, we don't even have to talk about it. Who hasn't played Bioshock? Well, if you haven't now, you get the chance. And if you played it a long time ago and you want to play the HD collection, well, look at this. Now you get to. How awesome is that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Instead
agree.
of playing fucking TT and whatever the hell was the
Whatever they'll TT, Call of Cthulhu. Yeah,
oh,
or the original Battlefront.
I, I, I,
uh,
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I was going to say the last game that they have is actually a PSVR game. It's called Firewall Zero Hour. It's a 4v4 multiplayer shooter, and I've heard decent stuff about it, but I don't have that. But hey, if you have PlayStation VR, get yourself a free title.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and put it there. VR is dead. Everybody knows it. No,
It's
actually,
not dead.
it is not. It is totally not. And what I was gonna say was, hey, Xbox offering might sound bad, but at least they're not as bad as Google Stadia has me right now. Just a mere
Wow.
mention of the name, it elicits a, a, laughter
Yeah.
because this has become a joke. Google responds to Stadia complaints over the lack of announcements. Google has responded to recent complaints from Stadia owners who feel the company has left it in the dark following the launch of the platform. Earlier this week, a number of customers voiced their concerns on Reddit and said the company has gone 40 days without a new game announcement, release, feature update, or real community update. A number of criticisms were leveled at the tech giant, but in the general feeling, no, I'm sorry, but the general feeling was one of frustration and disappointment at the perceived breakdown in communication and growing numbers of unfulfilled promises. Uh, Now, Google has addressed some of these concerns in a statement to GameIndustry.biz, and explained it had been offering weekly updates on the Stadia community forums alongside month posts on the Google Keyword blog. The Google Keyword blog, never heard of it. Uh,
Me either.
Referencing its pledge that 120 new game titles will be brought to the platform in 2020, which has since been met with skepticism. I wonder why. Google said it understands that user wants to hear more about those games, but that they'll need to look at the publisher. They'll need to they'll need to look at the publisher for more information. In other words, the story goes on. This comes courtesy of Gamasutra. Basically, this is Google. Uh, at least breaking the radio silence of it, but not really saying much. It's like saying we don't have anything to announce at this moment.
Basically,
You know,
be excited.
uh, which exactly.
Be excited for, I guess, E3. I don't know.
Be be excited about this new platform that has no new games and a entirely horrible business business execution. Like the idea of it is ridiculous. Pay full full price for games that you can't even run proper. It's
Pretty
it's it's
much.
it's it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, uh, I know what's gonna happen in the near future. I don't know it, but I can almost bet to it. If I was a betting man, I would say
I mean, if you
there's gonna
just
be
go
some.
with Google's history, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's sink or swim, as they say, right?
Yep.
There may some major restructuring where games will be. I don't know. They probably have to eat some upfront cost and bring a lot more games for free, so people can play, so people can go into that platform, or they're just gonna cut it. They're just gonna cut their losses, and that's it for
And
Google
move on.
Stadia.
Yeah, I mean, they'll probably keep it around, but they won't be.
But it won't be
It
for
won't
long.
be. No, it won't be.
No, it just
Unfortunately.
doesn't sound like it.
How unfortunate. My next piece, sir. The new Final Fantasy VII remake trailer shows off the game's theme song and a cross-dressing Cloud. You heard it first.
Oh, so it
Uh,
does have it. Okay, awesome.
so I watched the trailer. First off, I for someone if you played the game before, it's
Uh,
not really a spoiler to watch the trailer because you already played the game. Nothing's
right.
gonna come as a surprise. The only surprise is, oh shit, they actually didn't cut it out. You know what I mean? Um, that's
Awesome.
really it. It's so awesome to see some of the characters.
Mm,
Like the original President Shinra. As you know, he dies at the Shinra building.
right.
We didn't get to see Rufus, or at least I didn't get to see Rufus, but you see a little bit of Sephiroth. You see a lot of the characters that were in the building when you were sneaking in. I don't know if you remember that scene, but so there's a lot of it. The professor was it Hojo, um, and you hear some of the voices. Of course, unfortunately, Barrett's voice is still horrible,
Yes.
but it is what it is. One of the things I did notice in the trailer, which I definitely recommend everybody watch. If again, there's no spoilers if you've already played this fucking game, but definitely recommend you watch it. My only concern is, and this is I guess just me. It's just I'm not sure. It's like so, and this is a concern I've had for a while because I figure they keep saying, oh, it's going to be the Midgar section. Well, the Midgar section technically is not that long.
Mm,
Um, it's unless you count all the grinding, right? Because in those games back then you had to grind a lot in them. But
mm,
if you take away that grind, the beginning section of leaving Midgar really is not that long. It's a few hours. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
It's if I had to take a guess at the fastest, it's good 6 to 8 hours. You know
mm.
what I mean? Like obviously if you're just speeding through shit, which is
Yeah.
probably how I'm remembering it because the last few times I played it, I didn't speak to anybody, right? Because I already know what the fuck they're gonna say unless I had to speak to them to trigger something.
Yeah.
So looking at this, it just looks like man, it's just the Midgar section. We're looking at a lot of parts because the first disc for Final Fantasy VII PlayStation, the
Mm,
first disc ended with Aerith's death. And
mm,
that was a while. That was a while after. I mean, you still have from Midgar, they have to travel to Condor Canyon, and
uh,
then from there they take the boat over to Costa del Sol, and
uh,
then from there they're in the, if I'm not mistaken, from there they go to Nibelheim or Niflheim, whatever, wherever the thing is.
uh,
They end up dealing with Barrett's past, and they end up at freaking coast. What is it? What is the game? The game place? I can't remember the name
oh,
of it.
the Golden Saucer.
the golden saucer, and
Well, you're
then you
just
get to
spoiling the game completely,
the
sir.
no, but I'm saying, look at
I know.
all
Okay.
these major moments, and
Uh,
it's like if and you spend a lot of time in those major moments. You know what I mean? So it's just like I just
mm.
I see too many parts happening. You know, I feel like we're
Yeah.
gonna be way past PlayStation 5 and still not finished with the with this story. And I'm a
And
little bit
now you're
bummed.
getting concerned about this.
I'm just,
Now you
I'm just
realize.
saying. I mean, it's just I don't know, dude. I was just like, man, guys, you gotta. It's not that big. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my god,
it definitely,
I don't know.
it definitely feels. They obviously look if they intend to add more stuff, pad it. I'm not saying it's gonna have like everything that you had uh on the original, but they're definitely looking to pad some of those,
Well, I don't know
some
because
of those characters.
it definitely has the Bumblebee in because there's an
Well,
entire scene with I was like, oh my god, and
oh,
those
I
are
think they could have cut that out. I mean, that would have been. Might as well cut Eric's death at that point.
oh dear lord, no.
They could not have cut that out. That's one of those like super famous, super amazing moments of that game. You know, just like they better not cut the snowboarding section. They
Oh, I
better
agree. Yeah,
they should make
snowboarding, the
it good.
bike, the
The bike,
everything. Yeah, yeah,
yes,
yeah. All
yeah,
those sections better be in there. I'm looking forward to it still. I'm still looking forward to it. It's just it raised a concern. It's
uh,
like because part of me was saying, because in my head I'm going, it's not that's not that long. So they're just probably just showing that area, but I'm sure it'll extend to past that.
yeah.
But it really doesn't look like it. So,
No,
but yeah,
yeah,
I definitely recommend check out the trailer, especially you because you're concerned a little bit about the models. I think they actually do look pretty good,
yeah.
as far as the look of it, and I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Coming out, unfortunately, it got delayed, but coming out to April 10th. So,
April 10th. Wow, that's not too far.
no, that's
That's
the next big one.
that's amazing. All right. Well, that sounds like that. That's the way you do a remake, right? You know which way you do not do a remake?
Oh boy.
Well, this was not a remake, but it was let's call it a remaster. A pretty crappy remaster, so to say, from the wonderful people at Blizzard,
Oh
nonetheless.
dear Lord.
Oh, dear Lord, indeed. Oh, how the mighty has fallen. What the hell happened to Blizzard? Oh, I tell you, we all knew actually. The moment that they married the princess Blizzard with the ogre Activision, this was bound to happen. Now Blizzard is ugly, skinny crack whore, and it's just a shallow shell of what it was. So let me go in and talk about what the actual news is. Warcraft 3 Reforged. That's the game. That game came out. Warcraft 3. If you don't know because you hate PCs, it was a very famous, and you hate RTSs also. Was a very popular RTS that came out prior StarCraft 2. I want to say because first it was Warcraft, then StarCraft, then Warcraft. No, I'm sorry, Warcraft 1, Warcraft 2, then StarCraft, then Warcraft 3, and Warcraft 3 was amazing. Don't get me wrong, it was good. This was all obviously pre World Warcraft and all that, but it did a fantastic job establishing that that world. It has a very gripping story. It was kind of amazing, right, for its time. Well, there is a new version that they were working on that they announced. They showed on, I want to say it was BlizzCon about 2018,
Mhm.
and it shows the work that they had that they were making. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not even reading. I'm just talking. They were doing they showed the work that they were doing to the remake, and it looked really good. They actually Blizzard had already worked on a StarCraft remake, and I didn't play it. I didn't play it, but I heard it was good. I heard it was decent. It's not. They were not trying to make StarCraft, with StarCraft 2 graphics or anything like that. They wanted to remain, the game to remain the old play style. So it looked like an HD version of the old game, which, again, fine. Uh, but what they were promising for Warcraft 3 was actually a proper revamp. They probably weren't gonna they weren't gonna make like drastic changes to the gameplay because again, it's not meant to be a remake. It's more a remaster. But they were gonna address some issues with like the HUD, for example, the what do you call that, the interface, which was kind of terrible, and they were gonna flesh out these characters a little bit more. They were gonna tie up a little bit the story so that it will make sense within the lore of World of Warcraft. So think of it as what George Lucas did to the prequels. Well, not the prequels, the original.
The originals, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So somewhere along the line, and fans were excited to hear that. Uh, and they went ahead and released this game now, and fans are looking at it and be like, wait a minute. They opened pre-orders as soon as they announced that they opened pre-orders. So of course it looked amazing, um, and a lot of people went into it. And now they got the games, and these people got the games on the hands. They start playing it, and they're noticing that none of the none of the cinematics and the things that they showed on that at that reveal that are claimed to be in engine are actually there. You know, like there was a lot of like camera positions and some might say even work done on the sound of it, on the dialogue and all that, that made it look like they were actually taking this very seriously. That they were, properly remastering this game to be something for well, that you will expect of a new, AAA title almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
And
got you.
and instead, this seems like that this seems like very minimal effort was put into it, and to top that off, they don't even they even stripped away some features of the game that were on the original. You can't even play the original now because you can't even buy the original now. And to add insult to injury, if you update your version of it through BattleNet, let's say you own the old version, right, the classic, and it gets updated into this version now, and you get less features, slightly, prettier graphics. Sure, the models were reworked and all that, but not the game that you remember, and like I said, less features, and you're like, what the hell? Yeah, what the hell, Blizzard? Like, what's going on? And we've talked about Blizzard. I feel like for the last year, more than any other time we have ever that we've ever spoken about Blizzard on the podcast. I feel, it seems like it's just, you know, they they're just like, what's going on there? I don't even understand. I can't even say, well, they just don't care, because that would be unfair to say. How come they not care
It
about it?
seems that way.
It,
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
it's it's more like, what are they doing? Like, what happened? Your games were heralded as close to perfection as they could get as far as level of polish. And now you're releasing this stuff, and then you have the Diablo Mobile incident, and then you have the Free Hong Kong incident, and then you have the thing that you did with your MOBA, Heroes of the Storm, and Overwatch with the loot boxes and all this crap happening. It's like, dude, Blizzard got Activision up the ass. Let me tell you,
Yep.
it got really bad. I don't have to read the story because I pretty much describe everything that happened in there. Basically, bottom line is Warcraft 3 Reforged. Not a good remaster. Right now, their Metacritic this morning, from users, was at 0.09 out of 10.
Jesus.
So I'm curious to find out. Let's see. Warcraft 3 Reforged Metacritic. We're gonna look right now at the Metacritic. It is sitting down at a 0.07 user
Wow.
score, overwhelmingly disliked, based on 8,602 ratings, and the meta score for
Metacritic?
the Metacritic score, well, they call it the meta score, but whatever, is sitting at a 63%.
Jesus.
So not looking very well for this one. I don't know what happened. This is a sad day indeed. But this we expected this was gonna happen. I actually expected it from the moment they announced that merger, and here it is.
And here we are. Yep.
Yeah.
I've just got two little bit pieces that I'm just gonna go through. Nothing serious. The
Oh,
first one is a new Star Wars novel will shed light on Poe Dameron's past because it's exactly what we wanted, right?
yeah, sure.
Uh, Obviously, the movie kind of brushed up a little bit against what his past was with Zori Bliss and Babu Freak, and the whole spice smuggling and all that. So this book obviously is going to dig a little deeper into Poe's history, probably be a prequel his uh, to his character. So there's no set release date. It's just kind of in the making at the
I,
moment.
I'm good, fam. I'm okay.
Me too.
Yeah.
And then finally, this one's more of a news of the weird.
There you
This
go.
is, I like this. According to a press release, Netflix subscribers have reportedly spent 2 billion hours watching Adam Sandler movies since his first service, since the first original, yeah, his first service original, The Ridiculous Six, which
Oh
premiered back
my
in
God.
2015, excuse me. And based on new viewership metrics, Sandler's most recent Netflix film, Murder Mystery, was
Mm.
queued up in 83 million households in its first week of release. If there's such a thing as a movie star in the streaming age, apparently it is Adam
Wow.
Sandler.
Freaking Adam Sandler. Oh no.
Yes,
This
he's
already did the
already.
end of times.
I know. He's already he had a Netflix deal for I think it's 6 movies. Let me see. He did The Ridiculous Six, The Do Over, Sandy Wexler, which actually I heard is actually pretty good, The
Mm.
Week of, and then Murder Mystery. And he's finishing off this year. So that's one, two, three, four, five. No, that's six. Yeah. So he's signing up for another 4 movies with Netflix. So yeah, look forward to some more Adam Sandler, guys.
I still need to see that movie. That supposedly good movie. Well, not
Uncut
supposedly.
Gems.
It's actually, yeah, a cut gem.
Yeah, my
Oh God.
wife actually went to see it. She saw it
Oh,
and she thought it was okay. She thought it was okay. So
okay. All
yeah.
right. All right. Um, if you guys thought I was done talking about Blizzard, I forgot to mention something very important about Warcraft 3 Reforged. So let's cut it back to it. So the freshly released remaster of Warcraft 3, dubbed Warcraft 3 Reforged, give this player the tools they need to create custom game modes and maps. But this time, the Blizzard's end user license agreement gives the studio ownership of any community made custom content. The new rules surrounding custom games were spotted by a user on the Blizzard forums, and and come partner with other restrictions that forbid creation made using copyrighted material and any content deemed inappropriate. Blizzard's automatic ownership of custom games is especially interest. It's an especially interesting new rule to hit Warcraft 3 Remaster, and no doubt tied to the fact that some of the custom modes in the original one Warcraft 3 went on to become massively successful standalone games franchises like Dota. If you remember, Dota it came from being a mod to Warcraft 3, and now Blizzard is super salty about it and super bitter, and they're looking for it not to happen again. And they're basically saying that if you create anything, with their engine, whatever you create, whatever is your creation, they own just because you use, yeah, just because they use their
Their
tools.
engine? Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, yeah, and more so, it's if you refuse to give them ownership of it. No, how was it? They own it, and if for some reason, whether maybe laws or whatever, don't permit, or you refuse to give them ownership of it, then they have an eternal, unrestricted license from you where they don't have to pay you a dime for it. They get to use your creation in any way, shape, or form they want, and they don't even have to credit you as the creator of said mod, which is like
Pretty shady.
is conceivable, and of course something that you know nobody else but Activision Blizzard will think about. And it's dude, it's ridiculous. But again, it comes from the fact that yeah, they missed big time on the Dota gravy train, and then of course Valve got in touch with the creator of it, and they created Dota 2, and that became a whole thing, and supposedly they settled, Valve and Blizzard settled to the point where it was never disclosed how they settled, but of course now, Dota 2 is still a thing. They did not change the name, the name of the game. uh so yeah, that is pretty shitty on that, of course, expected. Let me see. I did have a couple of more things. Um, just real quick. Evidently, Doom Eternal won't have any microtransactions. I don't think
Good.
there's
Oh,
anything
I
more to
don't
say
think they
about
need
that.
it. Yeah.
Definitely as good, the right move for it. Although we should really stop praising these developers for
For
not
announcing
having,
that.
for
Yeah.
announcing, it's, as a feature it won't have microtransactions. Well, yeah, it should kind of be that way, but hey, I'll take it, and I'm glad to hear that is the case, that it doesn't that's not going to have microtransactions. um Speaking of microtransactions, E8 made almost $1 billion
$1 billion.
from microtransactions last quarter. Gaming giant Electronic Arts reported earnings for the holiday quarter today, or that was the day ago, so it would be yesterday, on Thursday. And the company performed ahead of expectations. In particular, revenue from EA's microtransactions bucket, called Live Services, reached nearly 1 billion. Another highlight was that Jedi Fallen Order performed above expectations. So this is actually the news that I was looking for, but I couldn't find it fast enough, so I stumbled upon this other one. Jedi Fallen Order, sorry, did exceedingly well. They expect to sell 10 million, so that's a franchise already. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
And good for them, because at least that game was good. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was certainly good, and it didn't need any of the live services bullshit or microtransactions. As a matter of fact, I believe I mentioned that the game, on how it doled out the customization and stuff like that, it almost felt like I was maybe at some point they were thinking of doing microtransactions, and then they had the whole hoopla with Battlefront 2, and they kind of like reeled it back and be like, you know what? Let's just make this for free. Let's hide away the store. Let's not have the store. How about that?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But of course, unfortunately, people still like to throw their money away. And hey, more power to them. It's their
Yeah.
money. Yeah, it's their
Their
money.
money. Yep.
Nope. I think that's pretty much. Oh no, I was missing something that I wanted to mention. Oh, did you see that report of Resident Evil 8 going back to being a first person? That's a that
The Yeah, I did see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a report. Nothing that has been confirmed, at least as of the recording. But that's interesting. That's good because obviously it worked very well for
It
Resident
did.
Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7 was amazing.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
can't wait to see what they have. Yeah,
yeah.
with their plans.
And I just saw a video of someone modded first person into Resident Evil 2 remake, and it works actually surprisingly well when you look at that game in first person. It's kind of it seems to work very well. From the looks of it, it's like some of the model, like the gun models, might not have the detail because it's so close, but like the position of the hands and where the gun will be, and the fighting and the running and all that, that looks like somebody can patch up a first person mode on that game, and it'll be very very playable. Uh, I I want to end on a good note, a good piece of news that came out about 3 days ago, and that is for those of you that were concerned about the next generation consoles having the Trump tariffs affecting the pricing of them.
Hmm.
Would have been in a major way, so that would have made consoles maybe even prohibitively expensive for
Well,
some
yeah,
people.
yeah, almost unattainable considering the estimates of what they should cost.
Hmm.
Add a tariff to that, it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Basically, you're paying a tax on gaming on your game on that at that point.
yeah.
Well, the United States, and China have agreed to terms on a new trade agreement that will seemingly prevent the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X from becoming more expensive. The two nations signed the Phase 1 agreement earlier this month, and it means that Trump's proposed 25% tax on electronics made in China and shipped to the U.S. will not go forward. Thank God. The proposed tariff might have made the PS5 and Xbox. I'm just gonna call it Xbox console more expensive. The Entertainment Software Association, which represents the U.S. video game industry's interest with lawmakers, said it feels encouraged by the signing of the accord. And there's a quote about it, which I'm not going to read because to me, in my head, they sound like they have a silly voice. In a rare move, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo released a joint statement opposing Trump's tariffs. 25% price increase in consoles to match the tariffs cost will likely put a new video game console out of reach for many American families who expect to be in the market for a console this holiday season, the company said in said letter. And we join them in their feelings. For this part, Nintendo was already reportedly preparing itself for the tariffs by moving manufacturing out of China for the new Switch Lite console. Nintendo is also set to be producing a Switch Pro model for release this year, but it's only a rumor for now. By the way, not too long ago, I believe it might have been yesterday, Nintendo came out saying, nope, there's no new Switch. There's not a new Switch coming out this year. So get your wallets
Yeah, I
ready
heard the
because
room. Yeah,
that
I heard
means
that
that
there
it
is
will
no
totally
new Switch,
happen.
right? Oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
All
that's the
right.
thing. Nintendo said no. So it's totally fucking happening.
Oh, okay.
So
'Cause I heard, I
save
heard
your
the rumor,
pennies.
and I was just like, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. Sony told fans to expect the PS5 price to possibly increase as a result of the tariffs, while Nintendo said the price for the Xbox would depend on what happens with China. Yeah, it says while video game consoles and controllers won't be subjected with higher taxes, tariffs on materials made in China for tabletop games are still going forward. So, tabletop gamers, you guys are screwed. And that's all the news I have, sir.
And scene. All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with our hot topic.
Hot topic.
And we are back, guys, and it is time for our hot topic.
Hot topic.
Whoa!
And we have a surprise. Well, not really surprise because I actually announced it early in the show. But Mr. Chaos Reaper, aka Hilberto, is with us. What is up, sir?
Way to spoil it in the beginning, buddy. Good job.
I was excited, man. I was excited. I'm sorry.
All right, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah.
What is up, sir? What have you, real quick, what have you been up to, sir?
Oh my God, honestly, not much. A lot of Warframe, Mortal Kombat 11, and Apex Legends. The Joker got the Joker got released, by the way.
Oh, how's that?
Okay, how was that?
Well, I didn't use him, but Dark destroyed me with him.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty nasty. I struggled to win. I think I won like 3 fights. That's an accomplishment.
That was violent.
But it's a very strong character. He's got good range, good speed. Like every combo he does like 30%. Like it's ridiculous. And it's hilarious the whole fucking time.
He does 30% to your ego.
That's it. The fatalities are hilarious. The throws are funny as shit.
Yeah.
He brings out a puppet of Batman and imitates his voice.
Oh, it does? Oh, that's awesome.
I saw that. That's funny.
So yeah, on Apex Legends Season 3 is finally coming to an end. They already released a trailer for Season 4 with showcase what may be a new legend, kind of like a villain robot dude, kind of like a super edgy Pathfinder.
Super edgy Pathfinder. I saw that. Yeah, it's like a Vader-ish robot. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the trailer was pretty cool. I don't know where they're going with this super edgy story all of a sudden. Really? But I guess we'll wait and see.
I know where.
February 3rd.
I know where they're going. Straight to your heart.
Oh yeah, straight for my wallet. What else? Oh, and just playing Warframe, just farming on Warframe, basically.
Nice. All right, guys. Well, it's time to get into our hot topic. The hot topic. This is going. It's actually from Mr. Chaos Reaper. Franchises that need a revival. And so basically we're going to just kind of go, I guess, round robin as normal and just kind of throw out a franchise that we feel can use a comeback, can use the 2020 version of it.
Don't call it a comeback.
I've been here for years.
For years.
Mama say knock you out, man.
Knows. Yeah. So go ahead. We'll start with the man who had the plan himself, Mr. Chaos Reaper. What is a franchise you think can use said revival?
I've mentioned this one several times, and because I still hold it dear to my heart. It's Armored Core.
Oh yes, Armored Core. Damn,
yes.
Man.
Armored
hardcore.
Yeah, Armored Core 5. I didn't like Armored Core 5, but the time that I spent in Armored Core 3, Armored Core 4, and Armored Core 4 Answer, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, I did start playing Armored Core. I think it was like Armored Core 2, the first one that I bought. but I think I just rented it. It wasn't really mine. The first one that I owned was Armored Core 3, and I spent hundreds of hours. And I had like at least three different profiles. Each one had three Armored Cores that were all different from the other. And everybody had different logos. And oh my God, I love that game. And then
Armor
number
Core.
4 was a very fast paced,
Oh,
like Gundam style fast pace, and I absolutely loved it. And I want that. I want the 2020 version of Armor Core 4.
that might have been actually the one that I played. I remember. Okay, so which one um premiere with the PlayStation 2? What was the first one that came out with PlayStation 2? It
I
would
got
it
it
would have
right here.
before.
First one that
Armor
came
Core
out in
2.
PlayStation 2 was 2. Yeah. Came
Armor
out in
Core 2.
2000.
It was what? Which one?
Armor
Armor
Core
Core
2.
2.
Oh, Armor Core 2. Oh, okay. That's the one that I played, man. Man, those games were hard.
Yes, they were. I mean, you know who made those games, right?
Yeah, Dark
It's
Souls.
from software, baby. And there
Yeah.
is so many stats that I didn't know what I was doing. All I care is like, oh, it's green. That means it's better, right? Okay, we're going with that.
that's what green means in gaming terms.
I mean, here that's what it meant. If it's green, it means good. Doesn't matter if it's higher or lower. It's better. That's all you need to know. It's better.
Yeah, red means you're about to die. Don't get into this trap.
So the last Armor Core that I see got released was actually in 2013. Armor Core Verdict Day came out
Yeah,
for PlayStation 3 and 360.
which is
Uh,
basically an extended version of 5.
uh,
So that's what they do.
so
It's the same like four answer. Then there was Armor Core 5, and then Armor Core Verdict, whatever, Verdict Day.
Was that the
so
was
go
that
ahead, I'm sorry.
the no.
That
So
they in 5 and Verdict Day, the
uh-huh.
mechs were like really slow,
Okay.
and I hated it. That's not what I was there for, and I stopped playing that.
I like my slow mechs. You
No,
know. Yeah, like what's it called? Like Mech Warrior, you know. The
no,
slow and lumbering. No?
no,
No love? Okay.
no, no. I mean, I can't. The slowest I can do would be like Titanfall 2, which is still technically slow and somewhat, lumbering.
Mm. So
But
Titanfall 2, I wouldn't call it necessarily slow.
I mean, when you compare it to Armored Core 4, to something like akin to Gundam,
Oh well.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's slow.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah,
Interesting one. So
that's an
yeah, so
interesting
it's
choice.
you figure about 7 years out of the market. So yeah, I can agree. They were pretty much doing one per year at some point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they released a lot. Like after 3, there was a lot of game like Last Raven, or I don't know what they had like different. They weren't numbered. They were all just with a different title, and it was kind of insane.
Armor Core for answer.
Yeah,
The
that was
best
after
title.
4,
Yeah. I
and
was kind of
I loved it.
no, yeah, but it had a very dumb name.
yeah, that's a very
Yeah,
dumb.
they were
Yeah.
they were playing
It's
on the
like
number 4. That's literally it.
for answer. But what the hell is a for answer? It's like,
I don't know, man.
I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
man. I only play these games. Don't make me
I
think.
just love the Max. The stories were dumb.
uh,
All right, Mr. Dream Twister. Do you have
oh,
a franchise for us?
oh, sure, fine. Let's go with me then. Let's see. Yes, this franchise is near and dear to my heart. Uh, because, and I believe I've mentioned it every time we start reminiscing about old video games. I say I want to see a new one of these made again because I don't remember a time where I have had so much fun playing a bad guy. That franchise, my friend, is TIE Fighter.
The TIE Fighter franchise.
The
Okay.
TIE Fighter, yes. Actually, the franchise was actually X-Wing. So X-Wing
Oh,
was released first, but I don't want to play as the frigging puny alliance. Like, screw that. I want to be a member of the Empire, and I want the Emperor to address me indirectly, directly. Because I could hear his voice say my name, even though he was doing like a like what do you call it? When you rally the troops, basically.
A,
Well, let's call
a
it that,
speech.
rallying the troops.
the
Yes,
speech. Yeah.
speech. Yes. Um, and that game has an amazing story. It definitely does a great job of painting the empire, the alliance, as the rebel scum bad guys that they make you believe that that they are. It's like when you hear two factions are at war, in the real world, you hear two factions are at war, and you always think, well, your faction is the good faction. They're the ones doing the good fight, the opposing force, they're the evil force that needs to be that needs to be the one over, they need to have victory. And the opposite is thinking the same about you, whether you agree or not. They're both fighting because they're all both things that they're doing the righteous thing. And I believe it was Mad Dog that said that the best villains are those that believe that their actions are,
That
that,
they're the hero.
and I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing, but that their actions are the good, that they're the hero, exactly. And and in TIE Fighter, the whole story, you see, like, the shady things that the alliance had to make, or at least they were shady in our eyes, because who are they dealing with? Spice runners, smugglers. They're trying to get funding from the most nefarious fact, as possible. But on the alliance side, all of these people are heroes. As a matter of fact, we have a celebrated smuggler as a hero, spice runner, and stuff like that. Han Solo and Poe Dameron, which they're heralded as the heroes of the alliance and the liberators and yada yada. Mine, in the meantime, you see them from the opposite side, and you see them, oh, well, shit, these people are like mobsters or something. The people are evil. They're threatening the order, the order. And as a matter of fact, and my voice gets higher because I get very excited about this. I still remember having memorized the some of the speech that the emperor was telling everybody. He'd be opening saying, like, the empire is on the verge of success. Soon we will restore peace and order throughout the galaxy. And you hear that and you're like, holy shit, these are the good guys. Of course, I want to restore peace and order throughout the galaxy. Hell yeah, Emperor. Yes, yeah. It needs to.
Hail the Emperor! Hail
I
the
know.
Emperor! What the fuck?
Totally, totally. And he's, even now, our capable forces are striking, led by Darth Vader, are striking back at the rebel insurgents. And yes, the rebel are the fucking insurgents. They should die. That whole storyline was fan freaking tastic, to the point where I would love to see, and this will never happen. This is on a bizarro world, on Earth negative 54. Uh, there is a story of a hero, but working for the that is from the Empire, and this is what fucking EA teased us when they started releasing
The
the
Battlefront
trailers
2.
for
Yeah.
Battlefront 2, and you will get excited about that piece of shit game, single player that had you playing the Empire for like 2 hours before you're like, turn your whole belief system away, and now you're working for the Alliance, and that's like, no, man. Back in the day, you were a fucking TIE fighter pilot. You were not even the hero. You were not a Jedi. You were just a TIE fighter pilot that the Emperor used. You were a tool of the Emperor, but you got shit done. And last thing I will say, and I'll let you guys continue. Sorry for my rhyme, but like I said, I get super excited about this game. You have no idea. This should tell you my level of wanting this game to come back. Uh, there is a point. There's a point where after after I believe is the battle of one of the battles where what happened? What happened? One of the battles, one of the Death Stars that get destroyed. I want to say it was maybe the second one. But the Empire is still alive, and they're still like recuperating, and they have dealt with a admiral that was actually working with the Alliance in secret, and you discover his treachery, and you bring him to justice, and you're piloting this prototype TIE TIE fighters, but they're not called TIE fighters because they have the shape, the ball in the middle, but their wings are all weird and shit, and it looks like there was amazing concept that you never see again in any of the lore or the movies or anything like that. And oh man, it's such a shame. It's such a shame that now this is property of Disney, and Disney will never allow this to happen. And this is what Star Wars is dead to me now.
Wow.
So that is TIE Fighter, which is the fourth in the X-Wing series. You had X-Wing, then TIE Fighter, and then X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. And finally, there was the X-Wing Alliance.
True. X-Wing would have been the second game of those. There were four in that series. X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I was very excited about it, but at the end, like it was very light on. Like it didn't have a single player. It was more like a multiplayer, thing back when that was novel. Playing against other people, through the modem was kind of novel, or was very novel, I should say. And so they scrapped the single player story.
Yeah.
What in the world is happening here?
Some interference.
I think they're trying to steal the signal. Don't let it happen. Yes, don't let it happen. They might have taken Chaos out of the picture because I don't hear him.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
oh,
maybe.
No.
Okay. We may have lost.
I'm here.
Okay, there
okay.
you are. There you are.
Okay.
Good. Nothing stops the signal.
No.
My game or my franchise was barely a franchise, guys. It only had 2 parts. And I'm sure I have brought this. I'm sure that I have brought this game up many a times. It's a little title called Bushido Blade, and
Yes.
I cannot believe that Square has not brought this back. Maybe
Didn't
just
From
don't know how to
Software
do.
though?
No. This was. Let me look into it. No, this was.
No. I'm saying like isn't Sekiro the Bushido Blade? Might as well.
No,
No?
Bushido Blade was a fighting game.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm thinking like Tenchu and shit like that. No. Yeah. Bushido Blade.
Well, no. Again, even Tenchu is not that. What is it? Sekiro is not Tenchu. It was started off being a Tenchu. It just came something else.
Yeah.
But no, Bushido Blade is a fighting game. It's a game that it's an awesome, such an awesome freaking fighting game because it was all based on like real Japanese sword fighting, essentially, right? So you had, the way it would work basically is there was no time limit, there was no health bar or anything like that. It was just 2 people in an area. It was a 3D space, right? But it had kind of side by side like you would normally have a fighting game. And you can block, you can do everything, and you can literally one-hit kill people. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you struck, clean and all that. But if you fought someone who was really good, it can become a really good fight. I guess it just wasn't picked up for the reason, or maybe it just wasn't the type of fighting game people want. But it was so freaking good.
Wasn't it because it was very punishing?
You're playing other people, or I guess you play the computer, but it's punishing in the sense that you can get killed pretty quickly, but you have to be good. You have to be able to block, and you have to be able to move out of the way, and it's not. If I could just show you the gameplay, so you can kind of see it. It's very old now. This was like PlayStation, the first PlayStation. So this is early 3D graphics. I would love to see how this would
Cheeto
look
Blade
nowadays. But
20.
basically, you can also injure. You know what I'm saying? You can actually stab someone's leg so that they can. So now they're still fighting, but they're hobbling. You can hit their arm, and their arm now doesn't work. So now they're just using one hand with the blade, which limits how they can strike. And
Wait, this is
sometimes,
PlayStation 1?
yeah, this was PlayStation
Dude,
One, dude.
this looks really good for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, this was came out in 1997.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was PlayStation One. Yeah, and so my franchise that I'm pretty sure will never. I don't even think. I don't even think Square thinks about this game as much as I do. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck? But yes, it is a great 3D fighting game, and I wish they would bring it back.
it,
Bushido
it,
Blade is.
it'll need to be, it'll need to have, more nowadays, because when you look at it, yes, it looks amazing. At the same time, it looks rather, it's a fighting game. So I'm thinking it might need like nowadays fighting games for the most part need, have a story, a single player campaign and all that. This looks like it could benefit of of something like that, and
Maybe.
expanding the lore a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it
maybe.
looks
Yeah.
good. It looks good for the era. It looks kind of awesome.
All right. So for my next one, I have Tokyo Extreme Racer, which
Oh,
Hmm?
I
you
have to
Hold
guys
on.
look
never
that
heard
one
of
up. Hold on.
this.
Nope.
This
I
is PlayStation 2, and the first one I played it on the Dreamcast, right? And it
racing.
is the street racing game where you pull up behind your rivals, you flash your lights, and you start
Uh-huh.
this race, right?
Wait,
Which is
wait,
a
wait.
map.
What's the name
Uh-huh.
of it again?
Tokyo Extreme Racer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, Racer. I'm looking at
Gotcha.
Tokyo Extreme Ray. Oh, wait a minute. Tokyo Extreme Racer. Yeah, I'm looking at the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
one. Isn't
Yeah.
this?
Okay.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, this actually looks really good. This looks like
So,
Gran Turismo.
no, 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 not even a little.
What are you talking about? This is. I mean, it's what are we talking about here? Are we talking about real cars, or are we talking about something else?
I mean, they are real cars, and I think in the third one they finally got the license for all of them. But in the previous one, they were like the models look like real cars, but the names weren't because they didn't have the
Uh
actual licenses for them.
yeah, like I'm looking at a Porsche that is not really a Porsche, but
No, they use Gambala. They use Gambalas as the Porsches.
but yeah,
The same way that what was it? You just Gran Turismo used Rough.
this Miata does not look like a Miata, but it's definitely a Miata. But
Yeah.
yeah, this looks. I mean, as far as it maybe it doesn't. Obviously, it's not a what you call it. It's not a simulation game.
No,
But
no,
as
no.
far as being a racer, yeah,
And
the
the
graphics
way it
remind me of Gran
worked,
Turismo.
the way it worked is there's two health bars, and whoever's in second place is losing health, and if you crash, it costs health, yada yada yada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but the further apart you are from your opponent, the faster his health will drop, or their health will drop. Right, and, and the whole thing was to become the best racer, obviously. So you have to go through the members of a team, and then fight. Then you would race the leader, who he would challenge you,
I wanna
and then
be the very best.
yeah, and the whole thing was about unlocking cars, unlocking parts, and unlocking the emblems for each team, for each team leader, and then there were like a bunch of like extra bosses, like hidden bosses. They were called Wanderers,
Uh,
which they all had like this very insane, non-specific requirements that the game never told you. At that point, you literally had to go to like whatever online guide you could find.
yeah,
You know, this is
yeah,
why I used to use facts a lot. The FAQs. Yes, I use those a lot. Game fact
yeah.
was
Game
the
fact.
website to go.
Yeah, motherfucker. Of course, I'm with you.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a lot of fun. and I mean, the longer you race throughout the night, the longer the night went on, the your tires would wear out, and on the last one, your engine would actually wear out to the point that you would start smoking out of your pipe, and you knew that your performance was less, uh, your turning was worse. You know, you had to like go back to your garage and then go back
Damn.
out.
Damn, this is a racing fighting game almost
Yes.
because it literally has the life bars at the top, and I
Yeah.
guess whoever's behind is losing constantly life.
There was a boss fight on the third one, which it was the Rook, the Knight, and the Bishop, right? And it was three Supras they had to race against.
Uh,
And I mean, this was like long races. You by the time you got to the third one, your engine is shit. Your
yeah.
tires are like basically on soap. It was
Damn.
so challenging to actually win those things. Like sometimes it was just luck.
Star Grave Digger.
But
Oh.
I love that game. Honestly, I would love to see a revival of that series. I don't even know what happened to the developer, but
Yeah, who
Well,
is the
I have
developer? I
some
wonder.
interesting news here. It was actually called in Japan Shutoku Battle is what it was originally called, and
Star Battle.
the Tokyo Extreme Racer was the first one that looks like made it over. No, that's not true. Tokyo, it was actually wow. This started a while back, 1995. It made it over. It was called Highway 2000.
there
96
was there
Tokyo
was an
Highway
arcade.
Battle.
There was an
Uh,
arcade that was basically this game that you could have like a card which said license. It was basically your save data,
nice.
and it was the same game. It was the
That's
same. It was pretty cool. It had the actual bucket seat with the shift and whatnot. People went
uh
nuts for this shit.
wow.
The most recent one I see is well under that moniker, 2003 Tokyo Extreme Racer 3 that came out on
PlayStation 2, right?
PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I remember I
Then they
played it.
had
You could actually swap engines for the
Yeah.
cars. You wanted an RX-7 with a boxer engine? You got it.
Damn, that
actually no, correction. Yeah, yeah, correction. Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift 2, which came out to PlayStation 2. Then let's see, Xbox had the was again
Oh man.
Shutoku Battle, but they changed the name to Import Tuner
import
for
tuner.
America. I don't know why. The last one I see is
Or
actually
tuner?
was Import Tuner, like
Jeez.
yeah.
There
Those
you
are
go.
called Import Tuner Challenge. Yeah, the last one I actually see was only of Shotoku Battle Extreme was 2017, but it was only for phones in Japan.
No,
So
that sucks.
yeah,
Oh.
it does kind of suck, doesn't it? Yeah, that's an interesting choice actually, but yeah, I think it could definitely use a revival.
Yeah, 2002 you said for PlayStation 2?
Around '03 to yeah,
Oh three.
'03 to '04
Yeah,
around there.
that
Yeah,
could definitely use a revival right there. Yeah.
agreed, agreed.
All right.
Mr. Santos, what do
Oh,
you
man.
got, sir?
My next one is well, I don't know if I should mention this one, so I'll keep it short because this one I believe was already rumored to be in development, and that is Night of the Old Republic. Keeping it in the
Yes,
Star Wars
that's a
field. Yeah,
yeah.
there's a rumor that they're working on it, and by God, that better be true, and that better be awesome.
Don't
But
hold your breath.
well, it's EA. It's EA. It could happen. Actually, I don't have doubt that it could happen. That it'll be good. That's another thing. You know, that I wouldn't bet on that. But that it'll happen, I can almost see it because I mean that's money to them. That's money to them, bro. And I believe everything that that can be said about Knights of the Republic has been said. You know, they're definitely this was BioWare at its heyday. Um, Before even Mass Effect came out, so might say Mass Effect was the uh the the product basically of the games that came before it, Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, this the saying the saying was that BioWare was working on Knights of the Old Republic 3, but because they didn't get the Star Wars license, they just kind of like finagled, the assets that they have and stuff, and they kept on working into what later on became Mass Effect, a huge hit. But when you play Mass Effect 1, especially, you could definitely see the similarities to KOTOR and KOTOR 2. So yeah, I want the game back.
Interesting. Yeah, and I did hear that that they're making the rumor, right? Because it's a rumor at the moment that they're bringing that back. I wonder. I just kind of wonder what it's going to be. Do you think it's going to be a complete redo or just a really good remaster?
If they're smart, they could. If they're smart, they will make. They should redo it, honestly. But I'll be happy with a proper, a cared remaster. I wouldn't mind because I don't remember. I remember the general sense of where the story went, but not the journey. So if I can have a good journey on that, although some might say the gameplay, the gameplay might not hold up to what we have, to today's standards. But I don't know, man. That game was still, that game's still amazing. So I will be happy with either or.
Okay. My next game is a little title that I think we all have played. Again, it's part of a franchise, but it's probably the one that everyone remembers when they think of the Chrono series. You always think of Chrono Trigger.
Yes.
And that's obviously came out back in the was it Super Nintendo days, and it's just a great RPG. You know what I mean?
It is a great RPG.
If they were to do a new one, I'm not entirely sure I would want like a whole 3D version of it. I kind of almost just want another one, but not in today's 16-bit, right? Because today's 16-bit is not the same as 16 back in the day. Today's 16-bit is something that's gorgeous look. When I think of Owlboy, it's a perfect example of a beautiful 16-bit looking game. You know what I mean? This has wonderful graphics. So if we could do something like that,
you want that the 16-bit era, look. Something like if they were able to make that on the Octopath Travel engine, that shit would be amazing.
Yes,
that would be
right?
Oh, I would love a revival of that game, mainly because I haven't played the original one.
I haven't played it to completion.
I haven't played a completion either, but I do own it, and I actually own the recent one. Like I have it on the PlayStation right now. But it's a big game to try to go back to. But it's a wonderful title. But I would love to see something of today, maybe even including a little bit of voice acting. Even though it's a 16-bit, you know what I mean? You can still bring a lot of it to today's.
I'll be okay without the voice acting. I noticed that a lot of times it kind of ruins more than actually enhance a game like that. A game like that.
If you have good voice acting, you can. I mean, I would argue good voice acting outweighs all of the rest. You can have really, really good voice acting. Now, the point is to have good voice acting. And if we look at Square now with their choice of Barrett, then you're probably right. They're gonna fuck it up. You know what I mean? But I would still want because I think it's just too much of a game to have to read as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? So yeah. Chrono Trigger or the Chrono series, I guess, is more like
the Chrono series.
All right. For my next magic trick, it's Dead Space.
Oh, how can we forget?
Okay.
Oh God, I could never forget about it. It needs to be revived, but can they? Could they? Will they? No.
Yeah, I love that.
But I remember playing. I'm not a fan of horror games. I've never really been a fan, but holy shit, I love Dead Space 1 and Dead Space 2. Dead Space 3 should have been better.
Yeah, should have been better. I'm right there with you,
But
100%.
that sense of dread and loneliness that you experience those first two games is
Yeah.
relentless. When you can't even save the game without being paranoid that you're going to get attacked as soon as you get off that menu screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and on the second one, when you go back to the ship, oh god, it was like, really, are we really doing this?
Oh, dude,
I do
Yeah.
it
not want to
gave me
go inside that
nightmares.
ship.
What ship was it? Was it the Nakamura? Was it?
The no, the
What?
Ishimura, the
The
Ishimura.
Ishimura.
Ishimura, yes.
Yeah,
The Nakamura was Die Hard.
USS Ishimura.
Ishimura, that's
Oh
right.
my
Oh,
God,
such a
that
good game.
freaking ship.
That's an excellent choice, sir.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. It's not even that. It's not even that old, but still, it's already dead. It's already dead and buried,
Yeah.
When
and it
was Dead
belongs to
Space
fucking
3?
EA. Hold on, I'll look it up here.
Because that
But
was
let's
still
see.
previous generation.
That
Three.
was yeah, that was that was Xbox 360. I played on
Yeah,
Xbox
PlayStation
360.
3.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
February 5th of 2013 was Dead Space
So
3.
7 years. Yeah, it needs to be revived.
I agree.
Yep.
Too
Yeah.
bad it's going to be EA reviving it if they do.
Yeah.
Mm. Speaking of another EA property, and I hate with a passion the fact that this property of all of them got the EA owns it, even though well shit it belongs to Firaxis, honestly, the makers of Civilization, the Civilization series, which we have spoken, or I have spoken very highly of, very addictive. So you take the gameplay, the exact gameplay of of the Civilization games, and you give it a super sci-fi spin, and you have Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, it's meant to it's not a sequel per se, but one of the winning strategies of Civilization was where you get humanity out of Earth and you shoot them in this spaceship, and their destination is supposed to be like a planet in the Alpha Centauri system. Well, this game this game takes over that, basically over that idea, and they're like, okay, you have made planetfall. First of all, you choose from one of seven different factions, uh or maybe it might have been more factions. You can fact check me on this, Mad Dog, but it was different factions basically, and they all had very distinct ideals. Like there was a faction where their ideals were economic, so of course they had to do a lot with banks and banking and whatever. There was a faction that had to do with maintaining the ecology, so there were the hippies, or I'm sorry, the tree huggers. I'm sorry, that's not what they're called. The guy, the sons of Gaia or some
Nature
shit like that.
lovers. I don't know.
The nature lovers. uh there was a faction that was militaristic, so their ideals were very militaristic. Which, by the way, the leader of that particular of that particular faction, on their bio, it says that she's Puerto Rican. So that's kind of awesome. We have a Puerto Rican character on a video game.
Nice.
That's awesome.
From San Juan. Yes, that was pretty awesome. Even though this was completely made up, obviously. The another faction will be very into the faith. So of course their things will be like very crusader and very religious type. And all those you get all those factions. It represents the different ideologies clashing into this new world that they just discover. Like each of them land on a separate section of the planet, of Alpha Centauri, and then as they're building their cities and colonizing and making a civilization, basically, because at the end of the day, this is Civ in space. This is literally Civ in space. Uh, So you have to deal with diplomacy. You have to deal with economics, with farming, with all that crap, and the enemies that the planet itself will create. You know, so and everything was behind this really really cool, very very elaborated and research lore, you know, uh, especially the special projects that each of them will have, that each of them could construct that will give them a massive advantage, if they're able to build it before the enemy factions could. Uh, one of the project is called the Dream Twister, which is where my
Oh,
what I chose my moniker from, is from one of the projects of that game. Um,
It all
and
comes together now.
yes,
it all comes full circle.
it'll all be presented. It'll all this projects will be presented with this really cool videos, like short videos of what each of them meant to be, and especially the Dream Twister one, kind of disturbing, but still awesome. You can YouTube it anytime you want, but it's very very weird. I can't say enough good things about it. Again, it's Civ in space, Civilization in space. That's all you need to know, and this is a must buy. And fucking EA owns this, meaning that it will never happen. They will never bring it back again because they have to have it in their fucking vault. And if they ever release it, it's gonna be a shitty mobile game that, as of the type that they do, which is with RNG bullshit and loot boxes and all the crap like they did with Dungeon Keep. So did I mention fuck EA? Hashtag fuck EA.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my next pick, guys, you guys, I'm sure it's funny because I keep coming back to Square for some reason, because
Just
they
like me with
have.
Star Wars.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Um, Parasite Eve was such a great game, guys. I don't know if you guys.
Someone
Another
was gonna
one.
mention this.
Another one that I
Yeah,
haven't played.
I was expecting
I.
someone to say.
Oh, I was gonna.
Really?
I'm sure I have brought this up many a times. I'm sure that's come up many a times in conversation with classic games. I'm like, where the hell is this game, and why haven't they done another one?
Talk to me about how overrated of the Parasite Eve is, please.
How overrated. I honestly, in essence, I'm not even entirely sure why I love this game so much. But it can definitely. Well, the first Parasite Eve. I don't recall much about the second Parasite Eve, and yes, there was a third, but by that point, it was. Let's just say it really only mattered the first one. It was an interesting. It almost felt like they took, a Square Enix RPG and put it together with a Resident Evil game, and then said, "Here you
Yes.
go." And that combination was awesome. And I love the
Yes.
first Parasite Eve. I love that game. I'm not a huge fan of the battle mechanics. I'm sure that's something that they can improve on, especially after all this time. But Parasite Eve it was. I mean, it's a role playing survival horror. What else can you ask for? You know what I'm saying? Done by Square, in their prime. You know,
Yeah.
it was like it was. It's a great series. Oh, excuse me. It's a great game that had some chapters in it that probably not not as good as the first one. And it could be the reason why they kind of just backed away from it. But if they can get the right developer to take this, if they, it was just going to be, oh, it's a great game. That's a series that, again, I'm sure a million times I've mentioned it, but Parasite Eve, guys.
Parasite Eve. Yep, it got mentioned. There you go. Whoever was waiting for it is happy now.
It's happened. Yeah, it's
All right, for my next one, I have Fable.
Oh, really? Okay.
Really?
Listen, I never owned an Xbox period. I've never owned an Xbox. But I did own a copy of Fable 2.
Really?
That says it all.
And I
Wow, you're a
borrowed
super fan.
I never played Fable 1. I literally just bought Fable 2 because somebody spoke so much of Fable 1, which, by the way, was all a lie, that I bought Fable 2. And I fell in absolute love with this goddamn game.
Wow, I would say if you're buying it before you get the console,
Yeah, I
before you had the
mean,
console,
I never bought the console either. I
you
literally
didn't
just,
buy the
oh,
console.
I just bought this game and played it on somebody else's Xbox.
Wow,
I
that's
mean,
a fan right there.
God, this game was amazing, and that dog was everything.
He
The
said that
dog,
dog was
that's
everywhere.
right. That dog was everything.
That
Yes.
dog was absolutely everything.
You know what's
And
sad? You kind of messed up. The first one was the better game.
really,
No, probably not. But it was really good. It was really
I
really
mean, and
good.
I know I've told this story before that you can get married in this game and you can have
Yep.
kids. So
Yep.
I got married with a woman that sold that sold the furniture store, right?
Uh,
And we had a baby girl and everything. And me and every RPG, I follow the Assassin's Guild one way or another, right? So I'm doing
uh,
whatever assassination I gotta do. And they actually gave me an assassination for my wife.
what?
Oh shit!
Oh
And I'm
shit!
like, what? What is it? Like, I obviously not gonna do this.
That's when you renounce
Whatever.
them.
So I'm just going back to town, and
That's messed
the
up,
the
yo.
area feels different. Like there's not the normal people walking around. Like what the fuck's going on? I get to a part of the town, and it's like a little plaza, this open plaza, and there's my wife with four thugs in front of her, and
What?
she's sigging them on me, and I'm like, you don't do this. Like you don't have to do this. We can still work shit out. This is I understand. I forgive you. And like, no, Chief Six.
Wow.
All those, mind you, I use swords, I use magics, and I'm kind of evil. So I got this dark blue skin with like horns and like
That's
colored
what it
veins
was.
throughout my body.
Your wife got afraid of you suddenly because you were turning. Because yes, you would turn your actual
She met me like
features.
that.
And she fell
Okay.
in love. She thought she loved you, but in reality, you were too much for
Oh
her. And now
well.
you were sent to kill her, and of course she believed that was going to happen, so she sucked hell. So, are you sure that this didn't happen in real life?
Listen, listen. All I can tell you is that those poor dudes, they all died in one hit. And then I just walked up there like, why? We could have worked shit out as I loaded my
Why?
gun and shot her in the face.
You just
Wow.
described the best story game ever. This is
Yo,
yo. I am
I
so
couldn't
sorry,
believe
man.
that actually happened in a game. I was like, this is amazing.
You were like, you were the chosen one.
Yes.
You were
Yeah.
supposed to marry me.
By the way, they took my daughter away. Like,
Oh my
child
god,
services took my daughter away.
this is brutal. I'm so sorry, man.
It was rough, but I have my
That
dog
is
with me.
awesome.
Yes.
Okay, I take it
Awesome.
back. Fable is an amazing game. Outstanding game. No wonder. Someone from work actually mentioned that she was like, "Oh, a big fan of Fable." And I'm like, "Yeah, but they kind of shit the bed by the third game.
They did,
I don't
and
think
I
it's
was
coming
so
back."
disappointed. I was
Yeah.
so disappointed. I never played
Wow.
it, but just watching the reviews, like this is not the open end, like how open ended the game was of the
Yeah.
things you
No.
could do.
Wow. That's amazing.
That
That
is
is
pretty cool.
amazing.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
is pretty.
out of complete random chance, that actually happened.
That
Wow.
is awesome. That
Yeah.
I mean, what happens not awesome, but the fact that that could happen, that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it's a
that's
really sad
it's like
story.
yeah, yeah,
I can. I can't. I can't even. I can't
yeah.
even
I
give my
know.
second. The next. What am I gonna do after that? How am I gonna top that? You know what? I'm not even gonna try. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and go into the next one, which I would love to see a revival. And I know what you guys are gonna say when you hear it. Oh, that game has been done and came out recently, and there's a version coming for Xbox. But no, 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 not that online crap that they're doing. I'm talking about Fantasy Star, but I want a proper Fantasy Star, not Fantasy Star Online or whatever that garbage is. I shouldn't say garbage because the game is actually like very popular. Like a lot of people play this game and love it, and they're
Well,
bringing it
just because
to the
they
state.
love it doesn't mean you don't
But
think it's garbage.
but it's still garbage. That's right. Thank you. That's right. That game destroyed an amazing those games destroy an amazing series of RPG games. Starting with the original Fantasy Star, which is like my of the old school RPGs. If we were going to talk about the 16-bit era, this game wasn't even 16-bit. This game was 8-bit because it was in the Sega Master System, and is my favorite RPG of that era. Uh, the story, the campaign, the world. You could go for a game that came out, for the master system, the inferior system, supposedly. Uh, you could go to 3 different planets, and so it was like Zelda times 3, basically. But and the graphics were kind of amazing when you look at screenshots of it. You look at it now and you're thinking like, I remember how games looked back in the day, 8-bit. That is not 8-bit, and it's because they were very clever, because they will have like amazing looking still shots, but then when the monsters will attack, they will kind of like just like maybe wiggle their tongue or move like an extremity a little bit or just flap the wings or something like that. So it wasn't like full motion or anything like that, but on screenshots it looks like the best game. It looked like the best game of that generation. But it still was a great story. Also, one of the first games that did 3D, like 3D dungeons. Like it was obviously not full real 3D, because again we're talking about 8-bit, but it was the most convincing 3D that you could see, from that era. The way they used the I guess redrawing, because again it's not really 3D, but the way they did the redrawing of the dungeons as you were walking through them, it was none of that. It's a still shot and you move, and it's another still shot and you move, and it's another still shot. No, when you moved on that game and through those dungeons, the dungeon will scroll. It'll be like it'll give you the impression that you were walking through them, which again, mind blowing for that era. I remember playing that game in the middle of one of the worst hurricanes that Puerto Rico had,
Oh
because I
no.
was a kid and I had nothing else to do other than like just sit down, and the houses were strong enough to keep, and the electricity never went out, I guess, but it was a strong hurricane. Anyway, I was just playing that game and like forgot that the world outside was happening. It was so good. Yeah, man. That's what I want. Then they made the second one for the Sega Genesis, which was also fantastic. Then they made a third one, which was called Final Fantasy Generations, and the idea behind that one was that you will get married, and then you'll have your son or daughter that will carry your legacy, basically. So the game played throughout different generations. um I think they were trying to be a little too what's the word, like they were going a little hard on it, because not hard, what's the word of it, shit, when they're trying to do too much, basically with what they have. Anyway, the thing is that it wasn't as great as the other two, unfortunately. And then they fixed it on Final Fantasy 4, but I feel like by the time the Final Fantasy 4 came out, which was heralded as the best game of all of them, even though I personally think Fantasy Star is the better one, like people had lost interest on the series already. So it was kind of a shame to lose that. And then they made it into online, Fantasy Star Online, which I don't know, because that doesn't look anything like Fantasy Star that I know. Not my Fantasy Star. Oh.
Well, that's Fantasy Star. My last one that I have is I really don't have that
Just
many.
before you move on to that one, I had a Fantasy Star on the PSP that I absolutely loved.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
then you had it. Then that's the one. You probably had the remake of Fantasy Star One.
Probably.
If it had to be, what did you play as a female character named Alice? Do you
No,
remember?
you created your own character.
Oh no, that was something else. Never mind.
But it was I love the concept. I love the characters. I love the weapons. It's you had such a large variety of weapons.
There was a remake. Believe it or not, there was actually a remake of Fantasy Star for the PlayStation 2, and I played that through emulation, and it was amazing. I was like, this is all I've wanted. A version of this game that looks, to today's graphics back in the day. But unfortunately, the emulator that I was playing, it just kept crashing, and I kept losing so much time of it that I just gave up. I was like, okay, well, it's not meant to be, unfortunately.
Sorry, Mad Dog.
Oh, no worries, no worries. My last one, guys. This was this is a series. Actually, been a while for a while, but I got really into it in the middle. And that's the Prince of Persia series,
Ooh,
uh,
yeah.
which I really liked. The Sands of Time was actually the first one I played. Although I did play the original Prince of Persia, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And actually still own that one, believe it or not. And but no,
Wow.
the Sands of Time really
Wait.
had it.
When you say the original, you mean like the side scroller?
Yeah,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're
I
old
have
school.
that one. Yeah.
Wow, that game was
But
great.
it's completely different though. I mean, it's
Right.
two different type of things. This one obviously had a way more cinematic story and all that. I really dug it. I even liked the second one that really went all rock hard for some reason. It was all
That
heavy metal and all.
that
I
was horrible. Yeah. That like what
I
happened,
still dug it.
dude?
It made no sense for the reason for the reason for them to have rock music, like little rock music playing in this. Is
Dude,
like
he had
from
who played the Chaos? Who sings
Oh
straight
God.
out of line? I can't find the reason why I should justify my ways. I don't know how it goes. Who plays
That's
that?
Godsmack.
There you go. Thank
I
you.
stand
I knew,
alone.
I knew you
yeah,
were
I
gonna
stand
know, man.
alone. That's the
Yeah,
one. Yeah, I stand
That
that's
alone.
the
song
one.
was in everything when it
That
came out.
that song was the title
I
screen. That
stand
that
alone.
was the title screen
It
for that Prince of Persia game. It
was
was
the second
Whatever.
one.
I
OP.
still liked it. I still liked it. I still enjoyed the game. And then the last one was the Two Thrones or the Two Princes, one of the two. I don't know.
Oh, when they try
Um,
to fix it, when they try to
the
say,
when
"Oh no, that evil, your two princes, the two princes, the bad guy that you play, I mean the edgy prince, that's not you anymore," or something like that. They were trying to course correct badly, and it
I
kind of
don't know.
backfired.
I never looked at it as a course correction because
Oh, dude, it was
it
such a
just took
course
that it took it and just went continued with it essentially to a new game. But no, the three obviously the first one is obviously the well I enjoyed the first one, but I still think
Yeah,
that a lot of the combat in the second one I think had the best actual combat. I don't know
yeah,
about I don't I'm trying to remember the third one. The third one was okay. There was a little bit of they introduced a new thing where now he became like almost like a spirit thing like that. But whenever you were in that form,
mm,
you'd lose health, which was annoying because I always hate shit like that. I'm like, come on, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
yeah. I always love the idea
But
of the sense of time, where you will be, you'll be playing, and if you mess up, because the whole thing was the prince was telling a story, and then will you mess up? He'll be like, "Oh no, wait,
wait,
that's not the
that's
way it
not what
happened,"
happened. Yeah, yeah,
and then he
yeah.
rewinds time. It's so good.
It is. It's
Yeah,
so yes, Prince of Persia, and obviously from that series at that point they really fucked it up after that, unfortunately, when
yeah,
they went into the more recent Prince of Persia. So since then, obviously, it's remained dormant. But if they can come back with something close to that original or the Sands of Time, would be really really good. So
yeah.
my last one
Correction.
is Prince of Persia.
correction to be made. That song is actually called "Straight Out of Line" by Godsmack. That was the song that was featured on on the edgy Prince of Persia.
On Prison Person 2?
Yeah,
Really? I thought it
straight
was a
out,
standalone.
straight out of
No,
line.
I think it is a standalone because that's the one. At least they played that during the trailer,
I
so it
think it
could
could
be
have been on
that
the
Yeah,
trailer.
maybe on the
trailer. Because I remember seeing that trailer and I was pumped. I was like, "Yes, I want this," and I got it. And like I said, I it made no sense for it to have it, but I didn't
uh,
care. I didn't care because it was just too good.
I
Oh, you
have
know what?
two.
You know what? You know what? You know what? You know what? Yeah, you're right. It does show when I look at it on. Wait, maybe this is the trailer. It does have I Stand Alone.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I know that song's part of it. That
Yeah.
I know that. I'm just trying to remember if it was actually in the game, but I don't think so. I think I remember it because I watched like even after playing the game, I just watched the trailer because I was like, this feels like a music video
Let me see.
with the prince just killing people.
Prince of Persia, Warrior Within, title screen. Let me
Those
see.
the titles.
Title screen.
Oh, you're searching for it? Oh.
Music. Yeah, searching for it just to see which one it is. You're probably right though. No, that doesn't sound like it. Anyway, I'm not gonna play it loud because then we get.
Okay.
So
So I got two left.
Uh-huh.
The first one or two is Burnout.
Burnout.
Ah,
Damn,
okay.
you on the racing games. So you are on point with those racing games, man. I
I,
keep forgetting.
oh God, I love Burnout. I mean, it wasn't just about going fast. It was about those crashes, man. It was everything about those
Yes.
crashes. It had some morbid ass modes in this game.
Yes, it totally did. It totally did.
Launch your
Yeah.
car and cause the biggest car crash in history. Go. And
Just
then
like
you will
that.
make
Go.
and then you will make your little frame on fire kind of like hop to make everything still crash.
Dude, it was yes.
It just was insane.
That shit. I mean, Burnout up to Burnout 3. I want to say I was not a big fan of Burnout Paradise. Believe it or not, I know that's the one that everybody loves, but
I don't know, but I'm with you. I think I played up to Burnout 3. That shit was great.
yeah, Burnout Paradise. It's just that suddenly the world it was too big. It was that open world stuff that I don't care when racing games
No,
do
that's
that
that's
much.
that's not what Burnout was.
No, exactly. It shouldn't have been that.
Yeah, and it's a good franchise. I think, and I know again this is EA. We're not gonna see this because
They totally because the Need for Speed, yo, because the Need
because
for
now they're a
Speed.
Need for Speed machine, and
Ugh,
that's all they do.
they can't even get it right with Need for Speed.
I know. So why
Um,
why why should we expect them to do anything with Burnout?
I know. This one, I feel like, man, the opportunity was there. It was announced at some point. It got even released, but what they gave us was such a pile of bullshit that I might as well not have had it at all. Uh, this is an arcade game, very near and dear to my heart because I love it. Double Dragon.
Oh wow, yes.
Yes,
They
I
did
want.
release that. Yes,
I
it was
wanted a
great.
good Double Dragon game. I wanted a, and I realized those type of games right now kind of like really don't stand, too much. I mean, there is a way to do them. Imagine a Double Dragon made into almost like a almost like a Yakuza game, but Double Dragonish. Well, but of course, it'll have to have a mature story, not evil bad guys punch my girlfriend in the gut, and now I have to rescue her. You know, uh,
Something a little bit more intricate than that.
a little bit, like just like a whole like an adventure game, like something serious, but that it was Double Dragon. So I guess it can be serious. I guess if they were gonna go hokey, I'll be okay, but they should have then kept the same graphics as the arcade and just give us some crazy new moves and just give us a world that is like huge, because it's possible now. Because
because we
That
all
it?
have
That
console.
it? That's all that you want?
I wanted that, yes, but it's like a beat 'em up that was as long as the Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up that came out, and something like that. And bro, they announced a Double Dragon game and they released it, and that game was garbage. All right, not even garbage. It was so horrible. It made me angry and it made me sad and it made me lose all hope and faith on Double Dragon. So maybe we'll get a Bad Dudes remake. That would be awesome.
God,
I'm back.
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Who
All
owns
right.
that?
For my last one, you don't have any more. You said, right, Mad Dog?
No, that's it. Yeah. I
No, you
was
don't.
thinking of bringing up a siphon filter, but
Yeah,
that's more of a yeah, that'd be
eh,
cool. But
bring.
I don't really
Oh,
desire it. Yeah.
okay. I was gonna say because I have three more actually, but I'll be quick
Oh,
with them because they're games that I would like to see, but I really don't have lots to say about them. So
oh
yeah.
no. This last one is again from another company that's never going to do it, and it's Sono the Enders.
Son of the Enders, yeah, Konami.
And
Well,
Konami's
wait a
not
minute,
going to do shit.
they did. Don't you remember? Very recently they did.
They did
Yeah.
like a remake of it. Would you call it a remake? But no. It
Yeah,
needs to be.
it was some VR bullshit that they did, and
Oh,
then you could control it, but it was kind of bad. It was not great.
I was too young to understand the story. I really barely remember any of it, much less the second one. But I
Yeah.
absolutely love playing that game. The first one I laid eyes on it, which was at a GameStop, probably still called like Babaj or whatever the fuck it was called at the time.
Hmm.
And I saw,
Babbage's.
yeah, and I saw the demo on that PlayStation 2, when they had it inside that box or whatever. Dude, I was like, this is absolute. Is this the next generation? This is absolutely ridiculous. And yes, I want that again. Again, it's
Yeah.
mech related, and it's a similar vibe than
you
Armor Core to a point, but it's still a different, very much different game.
you like your fast mechs, you
Well,
know.
yes, I do.
I get it.
Yes,
Yeah. I
yes.
I like him slow and lumbering,
No.
giant of tanks, bipedal tanks. I like the Metal Gear type, not Rex, because fuck's Rex. I like my Metal Gear. Uh,
What's wrong with Rex?
oh, Rex was cool, but then you find out that there's like a gajillion of them done, and they're no longer special. Also, way too anime for me. Water cannon,
Oh
get the
my
hell out of
god.
here. Get the hell out of here. The original Metal Gear was,
Yeah, because Metal Gear Ray is definitely not anime, right? With the
dude,
swimming
but it
and
was
everything.
more. It was a lot more like what what the U.S. military could have had. Well, not could have had because it's a fucking
Really,
bipedal
it
tank. They're
literally
not gonna do that.
screamed for no reason, like it roared and shit.
Dude, so did Metal Gear Rex. I mean, Metal Gear Ted or whatever the fuck was
Rex,
it
you
is.
said it right.
Oh, I said it right. Yes. So did that one. That one thought it was Godzilla, and also water cannon, bro. Come on.
Water cannon, of course,
Yes.
water cannon.
Yes. No, but another
By the
I
way,
was
there was
just
nothing special about Ray if you killed hundreds of them by the end of Metal Gear Solid 2.
right. Exactly. And that battle when you're battling the Rex on Metal Gear Solid 4, and you're on the Ray, right? Or what is it called? The original.
No, you're fighting the Ray on the Rex.
You're fighting the Ray. Oh, exactly. Yes. Yeah. When you're fighting the Ray on the Rex, that suddenly that game becomes a fighting game. It's so stupid. It was amazing. Man, Metal Gear Solid 4 was fucking amazing. Oh my
Wow.
god.
Slight
That's
slight detour.
not this. Oh, dude. Not to say when it starts changing your life bars into the life bar as they look on every different game. Dude, that game was total fan service. That was fan service, the game, literally. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just gonna rapid fire my last three games because you guys ran out of steam. I thought this was gonna be longer, so I had eight. uh, Evidently, I am. I do want a lot of old games to come, to be back. Like freaking SSX Tricky. I love my SSX.
God.
Why are we not getting? What do you mean? Oh God,
Oh
that
God.
that game, dude. That game was better than F-Zero. There, I said it, and it's the fact. It is a fact.
I didn't play either of them, so whatever.
I'm not gonna disagree with that. I'm just like, yeah, but who's clamoring really for an SSX? You know what I mean?
There is a rabid fan base that is clamoring for that game, just like there's a rabid fan base that is clamoring for Skate 4. Neither one of those games are gonna be made because fuck EA. Again, hashtag fuck EA. But that's it. You know that I'm not a huge fan of the sport games or those type of thing, the extreme sports or none of that crap. But SSX managed to make snowboarding, for which I am not an expert because I have never snowboarded my entire life. So why would I even have a remote interest on it? But they made snowboard. They basically did what Tony Hawk in its good days did for skateboarder games. SSX did for snowboarding games, and it was awesome. I mean, it was crazy. You'll do some crazy high jumps like a freaking superhero, and also the soundtrack was great. So yeah, don't give me that sass. All right, SSX Tricky is amazing. And I know that people listening, all two of you, you agree with me on that.
You agree? Okay.
Yes. Another one, and you might as well also dismay on it. Is Wipeout. I know you hate video games, so Wipeout is a Sony title. It's amazing. I always love that series. They kind of made it. They have a recent version of it, but no. I want the next one. I want the PlayStation 5 better have its own Wipeout, and it better not be the Wipeout, HD remade again, recollection, Fury, whatever the hell they're calling it. No, I want a proper Wipeout. And last but not least, remember Ghosts and Goblins? Those games were hard.
I remember those. Those were hard, yes.
And then you have Ghouls and Ghosts, and Capcom were crazy for that. Those were great side-scrolling games from Capcom. I want that series back also. But that one I just want for funsies because I know I'll never be good at to beat them because they're brutal.
They are brutal.
They were extremely brutal. Sometimes you beat the game and then it'll say, "Aha, fool you! You have to play the game again from the beginning to beat it for real and get the real ending." Fuck off. Yeah, that was major bullshit. Yes. And with that, I close my list.
Awesome.
All right. Well, awesome, guys. I appreciate all the hope that we brought to this. Not sure if any of these will ever see the light of day, but you never know, right? We've gotten some that surprised us and actually came out. So yeah, awesome.
A lot of wishfulness here.
A lot, especially from me.
For sure. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. As always, please go to goodgame.rocks. Join the conversation there. And, of course, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with everyone. This is Mad Dog signing off for this week. Mr. Chaos Reaper.
All right. I got to go back to Warframe and probably keep mining because farming, my friend. The grind never stops.
It never does.
Did you know the Farming Simulator 2018 got released for free on the Epic Store? If you want to grab, if you like farming, the Farming Simulator 19 is out.
That's all
For
right.
free.
I got Warframe for that. I do a lot of mining.
But it's a cool, real farming. That's what you gotta find
I'm
out.
a space ninja that can mine, bro. Like, seriously.
Well, that's no argument on
That's amazing.
that.
Mr. Santos, take us home.
I'm I'm sure that our friends, our colleagues at Activision have listened to our pleas, and our friends at EA are also very excited to hear that there's a clamor for this game. So
The
make
one
it
should be
happen, guys.
repeatedly told to fuck off.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. I just wanted to ask.
yeah, just to be sure. Yeah, Godspeed, guys.
Godspeed. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
GG!